telling young people, go to school, get educated, then you get a good job, you'll be empowered. But in most of our countries, the people who are living the best lives have no education. The people who are driving the best cars, no education. We have political cadres now occupying significant positions in government because they are loyal. Some of them are fantastically incompetent, but they are wonderful people. Unfortunately, wonderfulness does not cure the underdevelopment challenge. We have equated having things with being, so that those who have things are considered more human beings.
There's a new force of nature at hand, stirring all over the world. They are the young people whom, frankly, we have failed, who are angry, who are organized, who are capable of making a difference. They are a moral army. And the most important thing that we can do for them is to get the hell out of their way.
Sisi vile vile sio wote ambao wanataka ugomvi kwa sababu ya ugomvi.
Niwaambia nyinyi ni wajinga mkimpata Ruto. Mkadhani tunawadanganya.
Jeti ya Ruto. Hii maisha ya Ruto ni stress na ni stress.
Mungu wewe umetukosea.
Greetings to you all. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candid Talk, Open Forum Political Discussion Show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Apologies, yesterday we couldn't pull through with the show. We had one hiccup after the other. I trust you're able to get us. Please confirm if you're getting us loud and clear, or we are still in the woods as we couldn't manage to pull through last night. Well, we are pursuing the same direction of the discussion we had started last night, and that was on the aspect of the style of leadership of William Ruto that seeks to belittle and demean other political leaders so that he can have an upper hand, especially in creating that perception that he is the only one that can handle the affairs of this country, and without him, this country cannot move on, or this country cannot function to its maximum. Now, this is usually the characteristic of dictators, especially when they are looking for an opportunity or a way of trying to stay in power, especially without, being questioned, or without being, you know all that is going on in our neighbors here, and of course in East Africa community. If we speak of the same, there are countries where the constitution has been changed over and over, change of term and revising of change of term, all of it in the pretext that only that individual is the one that can run that country, and without that individual, that country cannot function. And so we begin to see these telltale signs in the behavior and in the characteristic of William Ruto. And so we are questioning this style of leadership of William Ruto. How healthy is it for the unity of this country? Because we all appreciate that our country is diverse and we are from different communities, and these communities have people they look up to as their leaders. Now, when those their leaders are getting insulted and being demeaned by the people in State House, it now result into being taken as an insult to that particular community or that particular region. And so is William Ruto's style of leadership the threat to national unity and the oneness of the Kenyan people? Now, if this is allowed to go on, are we going to hold together until we, do a peaceful, credible election, or we are in for divisions and all manner of getting back at each other, and in the process, we lose the country along the way? Now, I also want to remind us that this is post Raila Odinga elections that we will have. And of course, Raila Odinga's role in holding this country together and being able to compromise, give and take here and there to keep the country moving will not be at play at this point in time. I've had the discussion by the news gang, and it came out clear that there is a void in the country right now, whereby that fatherly care and that fatherly presence is being missed loudly by the demise of Raila Odinga. And so I want you to imagine the Raila Odinga out of the scene and William Ruto belittling and demeaning other political leaders. How will he be able to maneuver in case things go crazy and the fatherly voice and the fatherly care that Kenyans looked up to and listened to whenever there is a crisis is now permanently silent? What happens to this great country? And is that the only way to lead? Must you belittle others in order to lead? Is that the healthy way of being head of state and head of government? We need to question all this, and so I invite your input. Thank you so much. As soon as you get us, please share the link and get more people to join and be part of the great conversation. I'm happy that Undumani is already here. Is going to help us into breaking down what we are discussing. But in the meantime, I just want us to play that video as we start the conversation, and then from there, we pick it over there. And this is just, let's start with the particular aspect first, and then we bring in one few seconds of a leader that is late, but he said while he was vice president or something like that. And we begin now to do compare and contrast between the mindset of William Ruto in leadership and other leaders that have gone ahead of him. Let's just get this and then hear out the story.
Wewe sasa kama unangojea mtu akuje akupangie barabara ya kwenda kwako, kwa sababu barabara ya kwenda kwako bado ni vumbi na bado ni ya matope, unamngojea akuja akupangie. Yeye mwenyewe huyo ambaye unamngojea, yeye mwenyewe amekuwa kwa uongozi miaka 50. Barabara ya kwenda kwake ni ya vumbi na matope. Atatoa wapi akili? Kama amekosa akili ya kupanga barabara ya kwenda kwake, atatoa wapi akili ya kupanga barabara ya kwenda kwako? Ndio mnaona wanasema ati haiwezekani, because they have never planned anything. Siasa tu ya kusumbuana, siasa watu wanawapigia makofi, maneno ya bure. Wewe sasa kama unangojea mtu akuje akupangie barabara ya kwenda kwako, kwa sababu barabara ya kwenda kwako bado ni vumbi na bado ni ya matope, unamngojea akuja akupangie.
We can learn the humility to realize that any leader to be a leader must be supported by others, even greater people than himself. Any leader must stand on the shoulders of other leaders and even greater leaders than himself. Otherwise, there will be no way anybody can be a leader. We shall continue jostling for places to take fast, and the other one is pushing you. And we can learn the humility.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Those are bites that are springing from the mindset of the leadership of one William Ruto compared to other leaders. And you can see they are talking about the road that goes to where Kalonzo Musyoka comes from. And then, of course, Kenyans in their own style, somebody went and brought another picture or clip of the roads in Nandi. And, of course, Nandi is in Rift Valley where William Ruto comes from. And there's another one that we will be playing later on where the road is badly off. One time, Murkomen, when he was a senator, I think so, or a cabinet secretary, he got stuck in the mud in the roads that are in, wherever, is it called, Marakwet, where he comes from. And so, hii akili ya kutengeneza barabara ndio imekuja saa hii na ijafanya kazi Rift Valley, ama ni Ukambani tu ambako watu wanakosa akili, lakini yale ambayo yanafanyika Rift Valley na Nandi, hiyo ni akili bado. Unduvani, karibu, hali vipi? Kisha kufungulia, karibu. Undumani, sema kitu. Nainua kamera yako, sura yako hiyo tuione. Samahani. It appears Undumani ako na shida ya itilafu. I mean itilafu ya mitambo. Atarekebisha tu alafu arudi. Unajua yeye ni mtu wa boda. Kwa hivyo network yake ina ile hali ya interfere with the neighboring country. That is Uganda. But no problem, he will get back and be able to respond. And so as we look into this, the aspect of William Ruto and his claims that the reason there is untarmacked roads in Kalonzo Musyoka's backyard is because hana akili. Undumani, karibu. Samahani.
Asante, unanipata?
Kabisa, karibu.
Asante Bernard. Mimi naangaa sana kwa sababu wanasema nyani aioni kundule, inaona kundule ya mwingine Bernard. Sasa mimi nashindwa kama rais mwenyewe anaweza kusema ya kwamba anataka kutengeneza Kenya ikuwe kama Singapore. Sasa vile anaongea hivyo, hiyo ndio Singapore kweli Bernard? Ile vile anaongea, hiyo ndio Singapore. Na Singapore ilitengenezwa sehemu yote ilikuwa develop. Lakini sasa yeye kudanganya watu ya kwamba ati anataka nchi ya Kenya ikuwe Singapore. Na hapo anakosa kukuwa na heshima kwa wale viongozi wale wa zamani. Hii ni KANU Bernard. Kama Kalonzo alikuwa kwa KANU, yeye alikuwa kwa KANU. Kama baba yake Moi hakutengeneza, mtoto ndiye atatengeneza. Kalonzo alikuwa kwa KANU, yeye pia kwa KANU. Sasa yeye kwake pia iko barabara ile haijaweka lami. Alafu kwa Kalonzo pia hakuna barabara iko la lami. Sasa na anasema ya kwamba anataka kufanya Kenya ikakuwa Singapore. Kama Kenya anataka kutengeneza Kenya ikakuwa Singapore, mbona anakejeri mwenzake? Itakikana akajeri mwenzake, anataka na ajenge inji, kila sehemu ya inji. Singapore ikujengwa sehemu moja. Singapore ilijengwa kila mahali ndio Singapore ilijengwa. Sasa yeye asituletee ile Kiswahili yake ya kusema ya kwamba atatengeneza inji ya Kenya ikakuwa Singapore. Hiyo tu ni kuongea Bernard. Na inatakana rais akuwe na heshima kwa Kalonzo. Kwa sababu Kalonzo ni kama baba yake. Kalonzo ni mkubwa kwake. So mpaka ile heshima ipatikane. Na kama barabara iko huko haina lami kwa Kalonzo huko, mbona yeye asiweke? Na anataka Kenya kuwe kama Singapore. Mbona yeye asiweke? Haya kwa madaraka vile baba yake Moi alikuwa kwa madaraka. Mbona baba yake Moi hakuweka huko? Yeye kitu inatakana acheke baba yake Moi. Asicheke Kalonzo. Kwa sababu Kalonzo amekuwa katika KANU miaka hii yote. Yeye amekuwa katika KANU. Sasa kama ni downfall, hawa ndio wa kutengeneza. Wangemwambia Moi atengeneze. Aweke nini? Aweke lami. So kama Moi hakufanya Kenya kakuwa Singapore. Kenyatta hakufanya Kenya kakuwa Singapore. Yeye atafanyaje Kenya kakuwa Singapore? Alafu na ufisadi iko chungu mzima Bernard. Ufisadi iko chungu mzima, amwachilia ufisadi. So sijui atafanya mbinu gani. Sijui atafanya mbinu gani ndio Kenya ikuwe Singapore vile anasema Bernard. Hiyo haiwezekani Bernard, kwa sababu Kenya imejaa wezi. Na Singapore huko wakati ilianza kutengenezwa wezi walikuwa hakuna Bernard. Lakini sasa hivi huwezi kusema ya kwamba ati Kenya utafanya Kenya kuwe Singapore na wewe mwenyewe watu yako ni wezi. Wenyewe watu yako wanaiba shule, wanaiba mambo ya pesa ya capitation, wanaiba pesa ya afya, alafu naambia sisi ya kwamba ati Singapore. Labda Singapore ni huko kwao huko, labda ndiko Singapore. Labda Eldoret huko ndo Singapore. Ile vile anapetenga amweke Eldoret, labda Eldoret ndo Singapore, lakini pande hii kama Busia si Singapore. Huko pande ya Webuye, Kakamega, Kisumu huko si Singapore. Labda Singapore ni Eldoret. Ile Singapore anaambia sisi ni Eldoret au Nakuru. Lakini asiambia sisi Kenya hii hata itengeneze kwa Singapore. Na hii miaka anasema atumuongeze miaka 15. Ile ni nani anasema hii bunge hii senate ya nani anaitwa Cherargei. Cherargei anasema mupe miaka 15. Miaka 15 afanye nini? Katiba inasema miaka 5. Miaka 5 kama utafanyia watu kazi mzuri aendelee. Kama atafanyia watu kazi mbaya, miaka 5 inatosha, aende nyumbani Bernard. Hakuna vitu ile tunasema miaka 15. Kitu gani ile yake anataka kuweka huko kwa State House? Atoke huko miaka 10. Kama tutafanya uchaguzi na tuibie kura yetu, tutavumilia miaka 10 hiyo. Atoke afanye aende vyake Bernard. Hatutataka miaka 15 ya kufanya kazi gani? Ndio tena mimi nasema Bernard, kwa sababu wabunge hatuna. Wabunge hawa hatuna, tuko na vikaragosi. Wabunge hao ni vikaragosi. Kwa sababu hata akisema miaka 15, hii mambo itakuja kwa referendum kwa wananchi waamue. Wale wabunge wajinga, wale wanajifanya wamesoma kwa wako katika bunge kule, watanunuliwa na pesa 8, watanunuliwa na shilingi 2. Baada ya kununuliwa kwa shilingi 2 huko katika bunge, watapitisha katiba hiyo. Watapitisha katiba, watatengeneza katiba ili tuende uchaguzi na katiba nyingine mpya ili endelee miaka 15. Lakini kwa sisi raia hatutakubali. Hatutakubali. Yatengeneze Singapore kwa hewa juu. Atengeneze Singapore kwa hewa. Lakini si hapa Kenya atatengeneza Singapore kwa sababu yeye ana uwezo ya kutengeneza Singapore. Ana uwezo ya kutengeneza Singapore. Wabunge wa saa hii akiwa rais, akiwa serikali ya saa hii Bernard. Viti ya Singapore waachane nao kwa sababu mtihani imewashinda. Kibaki alisema watoto watenda shule siku 100. Siku 100 Bernard. Na siku 100 tukaona hiyo matunda ya siku 100. Lakini yeye katika utawala hii yake hatujiona kitu. Tunaona tu ni affordable housing. Affordable housing hii ndio wanasema tu nini affordable housing? Hakuna kitu Bernard. So Singapore yake hii ajenge juu ya hewa. Lakini si Kenya hapa atajenga kwa sababu hawana mamlaka ya kujenga hapa Kenya. Hawana, kwa sababu tumewapatia nafasi ya miaka 5. Kama sasa miaka 3 imekushinda. Miaka 3 tumemaliza sasa miaka 3. Miaka 2 utajenga Singapore wapi Bernard? Kwa miaka 2. Miaka ya kwanza hiyo wakati tulimchagua jenga akaanza kujenga Singapore. Lakini akaanza kusema mama mboga, sijui nini boda sasa ndio Singapore. Bernard. Boda mama mboga nini ndio Singapore. Awachane na story za Singapore. Sisi tunataka kusikia story ya Singapore. Sisi tunataka kuona story ya watoto wameenda shule, hospitali inafanya, kila mtu ako na pesa kwa mfuko Bernard. Asiwefurutie watu wakawa maskini Bernard. Atiko sana anataka kutengeneza Singapore. Hiyo affordable housing yake amalize kwanza. Ndio aongee maneno ya Singapore Bernard. Affordable housing, ile project amesema anaendelea nayo ya affordable housing, aendelee nayo. Asituletea sisi maneno ya Singapore hapo. Kama wa Singapore ilishinda Moi, ikashinda na wengine, ye ni nani mwenye atafanya Singapore? Kwa hii miaka 2 imebaki, tunaenda uchaguzi 2027. Alafu analetea sisi maneno ya Singapore. Hawachane maneno ya Singapore. Singapore awaambie wafu wale walikufa. Lakini wale sisi tuko wazima, asiambie sisi maneno ya Singapore, aambie wafu. Ni asante Bernard.
Sasa Undumani, shida ni Singapore ama ni uongozi ambao unahadaa watu kwamba tunawapeleka Canaan wakati kuna safari tuko nayo? Ni hapa tumo humu tu, kama ile kuna siku moja Nguma alisema kwamba kama baba ametoa viatu akaacha hapo kwa mlango, alafu mtoto wake toddler akaingia akavizivaa, anajua mtoto hawezi kwenda mbali na hizo viatu. Inaonekana hapa ni wananchi kuchezewa tu shere kwamba mara sasa ni bottom up, tumeacha hiyo sasa, tumeanza Singapore, and probably by by June of next year kutakuwa na story nyingine.
Bernard, ambie wabunge wake huko, asiambie raia. Sisi raia tumemjua, ambie bunge huko, bunge ile anaonganga pesa, awaambie wabunge kule. Kwa sababu wabunge ndio wako na akili ya utoto huko. Wamejifanya wameenda shule wamesoma na wako na akili ya ujinga. Awaambie bunge huko ya kwamba anatengeneza Kenya kuwe Singapore, wampigie makofi. Lakini sisi raia tunajua uongo yake, tunajua porojo yake. So hiyo Singapore apeleke kwa bunge huko. Asiletee sisi wa Kenya hapa. Kwa sababu bunge ni imeharibu hii nchi. Maendeleo Kenya imeshindwa kuendelea mbele kwa sababu ya wabunge. Waweki sheria. Sheria ile inaweza kuendesha hii nchi kwa mbele, Bernard. So hii maneno ya Singapore na vitu vingine, ambie wabunge wake huko. Wale wameongwa pesa huko. Ndio watengeneze Singapore kwa bunge huko.
Okay, sawa. Asante sana Undumani, tunashukuru. Naomba mabibi na mabwana, tafadhali tunapoendelea na mchakato huu, karibisha mtu. Asante sana watu wangu wa nguvu wa TikTok. Tafadhali like video, keep the screen active. Usitazame peke yako. Naamini mambo yanayosemwa hapa ni ya muhimu na tunajifunza kutoka kwa mwingine mmoja na mwingine kwa minajili ya wema wa nchi nzima. Siasa zetu zilikuwa siasa za uongo na kudanganya haswa umma, na ndipo hapa tunachukua muda kudadisi kila swala ili kuhakikisha kwamba hakuna mwananchi ambaye atahadaliwa ama kubebwa ujinga. Kama kuna kitu ambacho tumechoka nacho kama Wakenya, ni ile kubebwa ujinga, kupewa ahadi ama matumaini ambayo hayapo, na hayo matumaini kila mara yanazimia kwa sababu viongozi hawawekwi katika mizani vizuri, na tukachagua wale watu ambao ni wa kuaminika. Na swala nyeti Undumani amezungumzia ni ile swala la affordable housing. Kuna ile kipindi ambacho William Ruto ameenda kulaunch nyumba, akaleta wananchi wakaingia kwa nyumba hapo, wakapiga picha. Tena baada ya masaa mawili matatu, PS wa housing anakuja kwa TV anasema hata hao watu wameingia kwa hiyo nyumba hawataingia saa hii, wataingia after 90 days. Tunaenda kutengeneza gasi iwekwe mita ndio wananchi wakiwa hapo waweze kulipia. So ni kipi hapa kinaendelea? Affordable housing wananchi wamepewa ama serikali bado iko nayo? Wajaweka gas? Ni game gani inachezwa? Tuone hiyo video alafu tukadadisi. Karibisha mtu, tumakinike pamoja.
Basi Mheshimiwa Rais sasa ataelezewa kwa kifupi. Mwana DIG Masengeli yuko pale ndani. Kisha aende pale. Gereza tumwaipi yangu. Mheshimiwa Rais sasa anatembezwa ili aone stesheni ambaye tumetumikia watu wa Mukuru
Hello, how are you, my friend? I'm fine. So this is the lab? Yes, this is the lab, Mr. President. Yes, I'm Richard Kiusia, the medical laboratory. How are you? I'm very fine. Very good. The medical laboratory technologist. Yes. Yeah. Yes, how will you simplification? We need to so that anyway, by the time we complete this place, there will be minimum dust. Yes. Yes. We have also
something. Yes. Yes. Okay.
We have also the TB room where we do the TB tests.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. So
yes.
What are somebody? How do you do the
using
test?
We do using the sputum from the clients request. Yes. Then we examine. Yes. We have also the microscope for doing the urinalysis tests to test for infections and also for malaria microscopy.
Yes.
And we also do stool analysis.
Okay, there you have it, the tour around the Mukuru Bomayangu estate. According to this information, it is a handover to the people that applied and were given wherever houses. And then no sooner did that handing over ceremony get concluded than the PS for housing came on TV and says, although there has been a handover, there will be no occupying of the houses until after 90 days when they have finalized the gas aspect of the house system. So Undumani, hii ndio hiyo ama ni mchezo?
Bernard, afadhali mtu aishi maisha yake. Unaona Bernard? Mtu aishi maisha yake. Ukisema utegemei maisha ya wanasiasa, utaugua patupu Bernard. So hii vitu ya affordable housing tunaangalia wakati ya hii nini inaitwanga Kenya National Housing Corporation. Kenya National Housing Corporation mpaka saa hii hiyo ni manyumba ya wadosi Bernard. Hakuna mtu maskini yule anaishi kwa katika nyumba ya Kenya National Housing Corporation. Ili manyumba walikuwa wanajenga kama ya Kanjo hapa sana sana hapa Busia hapa. Tunaona wadosi tu ndio walichukua manyumba na sasa wanagodeshea wale wa hali ya chini chini. Lakini hizo manyumba ni za wadosi. Sasa hata hizo manyumba hilo wanajenga affordable housing. Affordable housing haitasaidia raia wa chini. Hii manyumba ni ya wadosi. Hii wanajengea tu wadosi, wale watakuja kuingia na pesa zao, alafu baadaye wanakuja kurent Bernard. So mwananchi anachezewa tu pande na tupo pande hii. Lakini sisi wananchi wenye tuko na akili, tunaelewa mali serikali inaenda Bernard. Hatuwezi enda kwa viti ya ujinga. Hiyo ni viti ya ujinga inakukula, inakupa pressure bure Bernard. Viti ya mtu yule mkora, hakuna kitu mzuri utapata kwa mtu mkora Bernard. Hakuna kitu mzuri utapata kwa mtu mkora. Utapata kitu mzuri kwa yule mtu sio mkora Bernard. Mtu sio mkora atakwambia kitu ni hakika. Lakini wa Kenya waendelee tu na maisha yao ya kila siku. Kama Singapore itakuja ni sawa. Kama hii affordable housing itakuja ni sawa Bernard. Lakini tusiweke huko matumaini ati serikali itatengenezea sisi manyumba. Serikali iko na mabwenyenye. Iko na mabrokers. Brokers utakosa na utapataje hiyo nyumba na broker yako? Utapataje hiyo nyumba na mtu ya serikali, mtu mkubwa ako Bernard? Kama watu wa Mkuru kwa jenga waendelee tu kuishi ile maisha yao ya zamani. Watu wakiwa Korogocho waendelee na maisha yao Korogocho Bernard. Kama unyaye anaishi Lavington waendelee na maisha yake Lavington Bernard. Tunajua Bernard, hakuna kitu mzuri utakuwa kwa watu wakora. Hii serikali ni watu wakora, bunge wakora, yani hakuna kitu utapata kwa mtu mkora. Kama afya peke yake wamefanya ukora ndani. Ukiona affordable housing wakora ndani. Katika elimu wakora ndani Bernard. Hakuna kitu utapata kwa watu wakora Bernard. Broker hakuna. Hakuna Bernard. Waendelee na maisha yao tu, kila mtu aendelee afanye maisha yake. Biblia inasema mwenye endelea kuiba aendelee tu kuiba. Mwenye anataka kufanya mazuri endelee tu kufanya mazuri Bernard. Lakini siku ya hukumu iko Bernard. Siku ya hukumu iko Bernard. Hii pesa hii ni wanaiba ya Wakenya wanaenda ng'ambo, watu ni wagonjwa wanaenda ng'ambo. Kwa sababu hata Biblia katika kitabu ya Hagai inasema ya kwamba wanakula lakini washibi. Washibi Bernard. Wanaiba hiyo mapesa mingi lakini wanawashibi hiyo Bernard. Wanafaa manguo kubwa lakini hii manguo iko expensive lakini bado iko baridi. Wanasikia baridi Bernard. Kwa sababu wamemuibia Mungu. Kwa sababu wawacha mambo ya Mungu wanafanya mambo yao. That's why wanakula hii miaka yote, wameiba mamilioni ya pesa na washibi na watosheki Bernard. Hii ngapi wameiba katika affordable housing na washibi? Katika SHA wameiba ngapi? Hawashibi Bernard. Katika mambo ya education wameiba pesa ngapi? Lakini washibi bado wanasikia baridi, bado wanaenda ng'ambo, wanapanda ndege, ni wagonjwa. Na sisi wenye tunaenda tu kwa chemist tunanunua Panadol na tunameza na tunaendelea na maisha Bernard. Unaona? That's why wamemuibia wananchi Bernard. Hii watu hii wakora Bernard. Ile wakati wanaenda ng'ambo wanatoka tu na jeneza huko ng'ambo, tunawasika tu. Tunaenda kwa matanga yao huko, ndio tuhubiri kule, tukule huko. Tukishakula huko tunatoka huko Bernard. Hakuna kitu kizuri huko inaweza kutupendeza Bernard. Hakuna.
Okay. Sawa. So kwako wewe unaona hii ni kipindi tu na ni ile hali ya kudanganya Wakenya kama kawaida, na umezungumza kuhusu National Housing Corporation, alafu maneno ya slum upgrading. Kuna wale ambao wanafikiria kwamba ni Ruto ameanzisha. Tulikuwa na slum upgrading na Moi. Kumbuka zile nyumba za Kibira zinaitwa Kibira Ayani. Hiyo ilikuwa ya watu kutoka kwa slum waingie huko. Ilipomalizwa wakubwa ndio waliingia. Kukakuja hii ingine ambayo ilianzishwa na Raila Odinga, Majengo, hiyo sehemu nyingine inaitwa California SV, hapo juu Pumwani pale hivi, nyumba zikajengwa hapo ya slum upgrading. Zilipomalizwa wakubwa ndio waliingia, watu wa slum waliendelea kuwa wapi? Kwa slum. So inaonekana hii maneno ya affordable housing is not going to be any different, and why should that be the case? Are we really serious about improving the lives of Kenyans, or are we just proud of milking them? Kwa sababu hii inaonekana ni kama ni business opportunity ambayo wakubwa wanatengeneza hela na maskini wanaendelea kupiga makofi.
Bernard, wacha nikuelezee Bernard. Hao ndio wanatakana kutengeneza maisha ya Wakenya ikakuwa mzuri. Wasijitengenezee maisha yao ikakuwa mzuri ikashinda hiyo ya Mkenya wa chini Bernard. Inatakana hii Kenya itutoshe wote, isitoshe wengine, isitoshe wale si wengine Bernard. Sisi tunajua ya kwamba hata hii pesa ya county government, pesa za county government zimeibiwa pesa nyingi sana. Hakuna county government inaweza kusema ati imefanya hii. Hizo pesa zinaingia katika county government, hizo pesa zinaingia katika serikali. Hao wabwenyenye hao wakubwa wanaiba hizo pesa. Wakishaiba hizo pesa wanaenda kuzijenga mahali. Ndio unaona wakati ya jensi walikuwa nasema ya kwamba tunajua mahali watoto yao wanasoma. Tunajua mahali wamejenga Bernard. Unaona? Tunasijua hizo nyumba mahali wamejenga, wameiba pesa ya serikali wamezijenga. Tunasijua mahali hizo pesa wanaziweka Bernard. Unaona? So wakati hii nchi inaharibika, hii nchi wakati itachomeka Bernard, watu wataenda kwa hizo Bernard. Hao wanatengenezea tu maskini. Maskini ana kitu ya kupoteza. Kama ni hao wanataka kufanya hii nchi, waifanye hii nchi itutoshe wote Bernard. Kama ni manyumba hizo zinajengwa, maskini aingie kwa hizo manyumba. Wajenge hizo manyumba. Wakati ya clashes Bernard, hizo manyumba baadaye, hizo manyumba zitaingiwa na watu maskini na watakaa ndani. Hakuna mahali watawapeleka Bernard. Umeona? Hizo manyumba wanajengea nani? Na kama maskini hawezi ingia hizo nyumba Bernard, then huyo maskini ndiye atazichoma hizo nyumba Bernard. Kwa sababu hizo nyumba zimejengwa kwa hela ya Wakenya. Hizo nyumba zimejengwa kwa hela ya Wakenya. Hapana nyumba zijengwe alafu mabwenyenye wengine waingie kwa nyumba hizo Bernard. So hakuna ile ya maana, ile kitu mzuri itakuja kwa hao wakora. Hao wakora hakuna kitu watatuletea. Mradi hao wafanye nini? Waweke Wakenya pesa kwa mfuko, wenyewe Wakenya wanunue ploti yao, Wakenya wanunue wajenge manyumba zao wenyewe. Si serikali itujengee. Serikali inajengea mabwenyenye. Serikali inajengea mabwenyenye. Waweke Wakenya pesa kwa mfuko, wajijengee manyumba zao wenyewe. Wasisema wanajengea sisi nyumba. Tangu ile miaka ya Kenyatta alikuwa anajengea sisi nyumba. Tumeona zile nyumba za Kenya National Housing Corporation. Saa hizi zingine ziliuzwa hiyo manyumba, ikawekwa manyumba zingine kubwa hapo gorofa. Babu maskini ndiye anaishi pale kwa hizo manyumba ya Kenya National Housing Corporation. Matajiri ndio walipora hizo manyumba Bernard. Maskini amerudi tu kwa slum yake kuishi tu kule maisha yake. Wasituambie kama National Housing Corporation ilianguka, hata hii affordable housing hakuna kitu itaanguka. Itaanguka Bernard. Hakuna kitu mzuri itakuja hapo Bernard. Hawa watengeneze uchumi ya Kenya kuwe mzuri, wapee watu loan, ile loan iko affordable, mtu aenda ajijengee nyumba yake mwenyewe. Kama ni maskini aenda ajijengee nyumba yake mwenyewe. Lakini vitu ya affordable housing ni kumaliza biashara ya watu wengine Bernard. Ni kumaliza biashara ya watu wengine kwa sababu kuna kabila ingine imejenga manyumba, hao ndo landlord. Wakati sasa hao ndo landlord wanajenga manyumba hiyo kuumiza kabila zingine kwa sababu kabila ndo landlord. Bernard, hii ni njia ya serikali kuumiza uchumi ya watu wengine Bernard. Uchumi ya kabila ingine Bernard. Wewe uliona Bernard Kenya Nyayo Bus Service. Nyayo Bus Service ilikuja kuua biashara ya nani? Biashara ya Kenya Railway ilianguka. Biashara ya watu wengine pale hapo ilianguka wakati ya Kenya ya Nyayo Bus. Sasa Nyayo Bus wakati ilifirisika biashara ya watu wengine ilipanda Bernard. So watu wasituletee vitu ya manyumba kuumiza biashara ya wengine wala wamejenga manyumba. Hizo manyumba zetu zingine wamejenga zibaki bure kwa sababu ni affordable. Affordable unaua biashara ya wengine. Alafu wanakuja wanasema kwa ile nyumba umejenga atulipo ushuru. Utalipaje ushuru na hii nyumba watu wamehama wameenda kwa affordable housing? Nyumba yako iko bure haina mtu. Haina mtu. Wataka ulipie hii nyumba ushuru. Ulipie nyumba tax hiyo nyumba Bernard. Na hiyo nyumba wametengeneza affordable housing, ndio watu wameenda affordable housing, kama ni mabwenyenye, kama ni wali gani wameenda kwa hiyo affordable housing. Hii ni njia ya serikali kuua biashara ya wengine na wengine waendelee Bernard. Hiyo tunawajua serikali imeua biashara ya watu ya manyumba huko Nairobi. So tunaelewa na wameingiza ufisadi ndani Bernard. Hakuna kitu ile inasema ati kitu ya maana watatuletea. Kama National Housing iliporomoka, hiyo affordable housing itaporomoka. Nyayo Bus Service iliporomoka, pia hiyo itaporomoka tu Bernard. Ni vitu haina kichwa hata miguu, haina kichwa wala miguu Bernard. Hii ni njia ya ufisadi ya kupitia tu pesa ya watu kwa kule pesa ya watu bure hapo. Wafanye ufisadi. Kwa sababu yule anauza chuma anajijua. Yule anauza simiti pale ana supply pale simiti mwenyewe anajijua.
Okay, there you go. Nashukuru wote tunapoendelea na mchakato. Inaonekana undumani mitambo imeharibika. But let's get going as we engage. I believe that just a moment. Here we go. Okay, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate everybody for your participation. There is what Fred Eric Sags, please mind your language. We are here to engage and find out the best way forward for our country. And of course, if we don't draw lessons from our history, we are doomed to repeat the same. And so we are not in any way here to exchange on who is better than who. We just want to analyze our situation and find a lasting solution to the same. And it is coming out clear that our handout economy approach has failed us for 62 years of independence. There is no way we can be repeating the same and expect to get different results simply because we are having a different person at the State House. If we keep systems the way they are and run them the way they are, the outcome is going to be the same, regardless of who is running that particular system. And so I think it makes all sense in all the world when we rise up and begin to question what needs to be questioned, and then, of course, seek answers to those questions without necessarily bad-mouthing anybody. And of course, the moment you are a public figure, you are a person of interest, and therefore, as Kenyans, we have right to discuss you So William Ruto is a matter of discussion because he's the driver of what's going on in our country, and whatever goes wrong, the buck stops with him. And so I believe we must, as a people, begin to scrutinize these matters closely. And then, of course, the way our politics are played is such that there is some subtle hidden agenda in every undertaking. I have questioned the intentions and the purpose behind affordable housing. And my questioning has always been what was most urgent for the country and most important for that matter? How many people did we have sleeping on the street and sleeping in the open air because they did not have houses? And so we had an important emergency whereby we needed housing so urgently that we couldn't put up a process whereby people can own those houses through means of generating an income. My understanding of all this is that the money we are putting into affordable housing would have done much better if we placed them into industrialization. Industrialization, whereby instead of putting up affordable housing in Garissa, affordable housing in Isiolo, affordable housing in Marsabit, affordable housing in Kakamega, and other places, if we instead place their industries, factories, and ensure that those factories are functioning, it will have created what? Jobs for the people in that particular locality. And the job creation in that particular locality will boost the economy in the place. The people will have a guaranteed salary. And then through that guaranteed salary, they'll be able to do what? Make their money, get loan if they need to, and build houses for themselves. So you are making affordable housing, yes, but by what? Empowering the people to be able to get those houses for themselves. I don't know how you see this, but from every look of what's going on with affordable housing, is going to create a huge crisis, a huge scandal is going to come out of this. One is that we are giving these houses to people without guaranteeing them an income. And then these houses are supposed to be paid the same way you pay rent. That means when you lose that your kibarua, when you lose that your job, you will not be able to do what? To pay the mortgage the way you're supposed to pay. Then what are the consequences? You will be snatched the house. And so I see this coming to that particular place where people are kicked out because they have, failed. They have defaulted into the paying process. And the defaulting is as a result of what? Lack of employment. And so what was most urgent in this country when Ruto came into office was job creation. But you can't use, job creation by, getting the money stuck, because when you put money in a house, okay, that money is stuck into that house. It's completely taken over by that house, and the reproduction of that money, it will take years before it is recovered. That's my understanding. But if you placed it in an industry and the industry begins to be productive, the circulation of that money and the reproduction of that money in an industry is faster than when you place it in a house and then you begin to collect rent, okay, monthly rent, than daily wages that people will be earning in an industry. And so, to me, this is a long game that, in my opinion, is going to be disastrous. I don't know if you saw the headline on, I think it was the Nation newspaper, about the huge scandal. I think, was it 5 billion or something like that for markets? Okay. Yes, markets. The was it market zone, or the project that was being undertaken by Moses Kuria, before he left that docket, and then he went to advise the president, and now he's outside of the cabinet. And so what I'm talking about is the reality of the same. So just like we launched out these economic zones, yes, they called it economic zones, and put up wherever marketplaces and make those economic zones function and all that. So it has eaten over 5 billion, and that money cannot be traced, and the markets also cannot be seen. And so what we are doing as Kenyans, in my opinion, is, trying to reinvent a wheel, which, in my opinion, it's far-fetched. It's far-fetched. Our population is rising at a very high rate. The demands and the resources are becoming limited with every passing day. The earlier we embark on multiplying those resources so that they can match with the population that we have and the demands of the population is what needs to be more urgent. For example, Nairobi was built for 400,000 people. Okay, that the original Nairobi was built for 400,000 people. The infrastructure of Nairobi was 400,000 people, and now we are almost 6 million people. So we're having 6 million people on a 400,000 infrastructure. So if you are getting 6 million people on a 400,000 infrastructure, what are you doing? You're creating a crisis. And so in my understanding, there isn't much coming out of this so-called affordable housing and all these other projects that are being launched every week. And then, of course, the so-called empowerment program that is being run by the deputy president, Kithure Kindiki, every week distributing money, million here, 2 million here, million here, 2 million here, for these mamas, for this youth, for these border people. It's still a waste, in my opinion, because nothing much is going to come out of that, and the economy will continue bleeding. And I don't see much coming from the same, because without production, without ensuring that people are productive and people are engaged into gainful employment, there isn't much we can count on as far as making a difference is concerned. And so as we go about looking at what's cooking in our country and what needs to be done, or what should be done, in my calculated opinion, we must, as a people, ensure that we are doing what must be done, and that is the right thing. The right thing. And left for me, this country needs to go back to the drawing board. For example, Vision 2030. We are shy of how many years to get to 2030? Less than, this is, we're closing 2025. That means less than 5 years, we should be in 2030. How much have we achieved the Vision 2030? That, to me, should be a more, pressing matter. Have we achieved everything as far as the dream of 2030? How close are we to that conclusion? How do we account for the same? If that is what William Ruto is pushing, and that is what the blueprint that William Ruto is executing, then it will make sense. But coming up with new whatever programs with every passing day, all of it is to hoodwink the public, that is unforgivable. From where I sit, that is unforgivable, and it should not be coming from people that have been in leadership for this long, and of course, with a proper understanding of what bedevils this great country. Kenya has the potential of becoming more than Singapore, and wherever the journey to Singapore is being drummed up by William Ruto himself. But in my opinion, we are not doing anything that will take us to that Singapore place. It's like we want to go, but we now put a stumbling block on our way to where we are going. And that is it. Because if we really want to be Singapore, then we must begin by first things first. Okay, and first things first is that Singapore arrested corruption. Okay, became zero tolerance to corruption. What are we doing on corruption? Nothing. Okay, in fact, if anything, we are aiding it, we are covering it, we are fueling it, we are building it. And so we can't be Singapore when we are not doing what Singapore did to correct what was wrong so that they became first world. And so the pretense and the rhetoric of us becoming Singapore, becoming first world, is not different from bottom up, is not different from kutoka hapa chini tuende hapa juu. Wao waelewi, hawajawahi lala njaa, hawa ni watoto wa wadosi, sisi ni maskini. The same rhetoric that played out in 2022 is the same one being played right now because of 2027. And this journey to Singapore is nothing but the story that we are being told, but no drawn out plan that can make that happen. Look at what's going on in Burkina Faso. And Ibrahim Traore, he went back to the drawing board, got to what is the problem with our country. He didn't play politics with it. In fact, he discouraged the politics around it, ensured that it's fixing education permanently, fixing infrastructure permanently, it's fixing healthcare permanently. Now, to me, that makes sense because this is somebody who has shouldered the responsibility of the country. But what William Ruto is offering Kenyans is a game, and that game is going to end up into the tears of Kenyans, and then, of course, the difference between the poor and the rich is going to widen with every passing day. Remember the statistics that came out the other day that 125 people own in this country is more than what the rest 46 million own altogether. So how do you fix that? By doing the same thing that creates that. This affordable housing belongs to some people. The beneficiaries are a few clique of people. The rest are consumers. How do we become a country of consumers? Okay, majority of people have become consumers, and a clique of few are productive. Those few are the ones controlling everything. They're the ones that rig the elections, and there is nothing we can't do. They have the money, they have the army, they have the police. They rig the elections deliberately. They practice impunity because they're the ones holding the economy together. Something needs to happen, and that is Kenyans must wake up from their slumber and begin to raise questions on matters that matter. Let's go get out of the madness of trying to, justify one term, two term. That, to me, that's not a debate. That's not a debate. That one term, two term is not an issue. What's the issue is how do we fix this country? How do we make this country ready for this younger population that has, overwhelmed us? We have been overtaken by events. We are behind in ensuring that the current population will be catered for by the current state of the resources available. Do we have enough schools for the children we are taking to school? Do we have enough food for the people we are giving birth to? Those are the issues that you should be telling me. Not that we are finding house for Kenyans to live in a decent home and all that, so that they die there. Or do what? Or you want to collect the little money they have, then send them away from those houses because they have fallen back on paying the mortgage? And then you tell us you're helping this country? No, you're running away from responsibility. And to me, that is very annoying, to say the least. So as leaders, both political and otherwise, we must accept the leadership responsibility by ensuring that we shoulder the responsibility of the country. This country badly needs right leadership. We must get round pegs in round holes, squared pegs in squared holes. That's where you begin to go the Singapore way. But you have a herdsman for a minister of health. mfugaji wa ngamia ndio waziri wa wa matibabu, waziri wa afya. Hii tunachezewa, okay? Afadhali ungechukua daktari wa ng'ombe, okay? Akwe minister wa health, at least kuna udaktari hapo ndani. Lakini mfugaji huyo ndio umefanya minister wa health, okay? Umechukua tena nani? Terrible. So we deliberately create crisis and delay the transformation of the country, but we keep running our mouth and giving promises that don't add up. So as a people, we must wake up and begin to demand that people in leadership are doing the right thing, or we kick them out of office. And that needs to be an issue that nobody should be playing around with the same, even as we go forward. And so let's look at this other story, even as we continue with the discussion. It is important that William Ruto comes to terms with the understanding that the way he's doing things is not sitting well with Kenyans. And even if he, poses as the best that Kenyans can offer, we doubt that from afar. Let's just listen to him and his deputy and on how they are running this country. Listen.
Na ndio mimi nawashukuru mumenipatia huyu kiongozi, huyu Profesa Abraham Kithure Kindiki kama naibu wa rais. Huyu muungwana, wacha niwaambie, anaelewa mambo. Anaelewa barabara inaelekea wapi. Anaelewa mambo ya stima. Ananisaidia kupanga mambo ya affordable housing. Wale wengine ni panganga, kelele, sijui nini, bure. Nye mnanielewa? Tupange ile kazi ambayo itabadilisha Kenya. Halafu baadaye tutafanya uchaguzi kulingana na kazi mtu amefanya. Ama namna gani watu wa Meru? Kwani mtu anachaguliwa kwa sababu wako na sura mzuri? Mtu anachaguliwa kwa sababu anatoka kanisa fulani ama anatoka jamii fulani? Si mtu anachaguliwa kwa ile kazi amefanya? Ama mnasemaje watu wa Meru? Kama mtu hana sera, hana mpango, hana agenda, hana vision, hata akili hana, huyo ni mtu ya kuchaguliwa kwenda mahali popote? Mimi nawauliza watu wa Meru, wale watu wanatupigia makelele mingi, nikijaribu kuwasikiza ile wanasema hawasemi barabara, hawasemi stima, hawasemi vijana wapate kazi, hawasemi chochote. Kazi yao tu ni hewa, kuongea mambo ya bure. Na hivyo ndio Kenya imechelewa. Nchi zingine imepiga hatua ya kwenda mbele. Na kazi yangu katika hii taifa letu la Kenya ni kusukuma mambo ya maendeleo Kenya hii mpaka tushikane na wale walituacha nyuma. And I want to ask you, the people of Meru, the people of Kenya, tushirikiane. Waswahili wanasema umoja ni nguvu, kujitenga ni udhaifu. Tushirikiane, tufanye kazi kwa pamoja. Na ndio mimi nawashukuru mumenipatia huyu kiongozi, huyu Profesa Abraham Kithure Kindiki kama naibu.
Okay, there you have it. That's William Ruto praising his deputy, and of course that he has been given. Question is, did we give Kindiki to William Ruto, or William Ruto appointed Kindiki to be his deputy? That's question number one. Number two, he's telling us that people will be elected according to what they have done. Now, is that the criteria of finding leadership in our country, according to the Constitution? No. Our Constitution stipulates that we should elect people who are integrous. Chapter 6, okay? People with character, people with outstanding, capacity to be able to deliver proper leadership for the country. So it is not a performance contest. It is who is credible, who is reliable, who has a character and a capacity to run the affairs of this country. And so William Ruto is cleverly tuning the minds of Kenyans that elections will be determined by what somebody has been done or what somebody has done. But I just want to remind you, when William Ruto was seeking election in 2022, what did he tell us? He said we should not check history, okay? We should forget history and focus on the right now and the future. So how are we going to find out what somebody has done if we don't look at history? Good. Now, looking at the history of William Ruto and his performance from Youth for KANU 92, when he got into politics, to the time when he got into office, what kind of performance had he performed that was so exemplary that made him qualify to be president in this country? And so even when we place him on his own scale, I don't think he stands a chance. And so as Kenyans, it is time for us to raise an alarm that we are being carried for fools, to say the least. Kithure Kindiki was an appointee of William Ruto. So was Rigathi Gachagua. So if Rigathi Gachagua is bad and is Ruto's choice, Kithure Kindiki is good and is same Ruto's choice, who made the mistake? It's Ruto, it's not Kenyans. It's Ruto. Because Ruto had a choice to pick his running mate. He did that for himself, by himself, without undue influence. And if there was an undue influence, it was all driven by his personal interest. So the assistant of William Ruto is Rigathi Gachagua and Kithure Kindiki. And all of them are in office courtesy of William Ruto, not courtesy of Kenyans. And so he should stop his reverse psychology of trying to make Kenyans to have done what he did. That's number one. Then number two, he's talking about the people asking for the opportunity to run the affairs of this country, not having brains, not having plan, not having vision, not having anything that they can offer Kenyans. How did he come to that conclusion? By listening to them? Did he vet them? Did he research each one of them and came to that conclusion? How does he know they don't have a vision? They don't have brains. In fact, hapo pa akili ndio panaumiza sana. How does somebody come to a conclusion that the other person doesn't have brains? Okay? Well, I don't want to dig that further, but I just want to let you see the kind of psychological games that William Ruto is playing. And you can see clearly that William Ruto is determined to preach and make Kenyans believe that him only is the one that can run this country. Every other person cannot. In my opinion, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. And Kenyans need to beware. The person who offers himself as the solution and wants to kill every other person or wants to exterminate every other person, he's not planning good about what he intends to do when he gets in office. And therefore, Kenyans need to be extra vigilant and extra careful about who they are assigning the responsibility to run the affairs of this great country. So Kithure Kindiki has violated the constitution. He's yet to account to us where he's getting the money. He's running around the country distributing. In fact, what they are spending going around the country is more than what they are distributing. They fuel the jet or hire the jet that they are jumping from one meeting to another, and the fueling and the hiring and the usage of that jet cost more than the money they are distributing. 2 million, they are spending 20 million on the road. How does that make sense? How does that help the economy? How does that enhance the betterment of our country? And so, as a people, we have a right to question. And then, of course, we must be extra careful on who we are assigning the opposition. The responsibility. And then, of course, there is this imaginary group called opposition. Constitutionally, we don't have that office called opposition. But what I would want to make out of what's happening is that it is too early to talk about united opposition. That's my conclusion on the same. But we have different leaders in this country. William Ruto is not the best option, and he's not the only option. And so we must, as Kenyans, be careful when he begins to dismiss every other person and offer himself alone as a solution. That is one avenue of the making of a dictator. And when you allow him room, you're going to end up into a sorry state of affairs. What's going on in Uganda will be worse in Kenya, allowing this kind of mentality and this kind of thinking to be the one that is leading the way. And so as we continue to engage, we must be careful. And so one thing there, it talks about Kithure Kindiki kuelewa, okay? Kuelewa kazi, kuelewa mambo na kutekeleza vile anapaswa kutekeleza. Hiyo inapaswa kumfanya ama kuonyesha kwamba Rigathi Gachagua hakuwa anaelewa mambo, hakuwa anafanya vile anaambiwa. Okay? Lakini ukiangalia kwa hii masuala yote, kuna ile William Ruto anasema kuelewa. Okay? Hiyo ukiangalia kwa kina, sio kuelewa kwa ku-understand, ni kuelewa kwa kufuata kile ambacho William Ruto anataka. Okay? So Kithure Kindiki, being a professor of law, he has accepted to ignore what the law says, ignore what the constitution says, and do what William Ruto has said. And because he's a good follower, he's a good lie back, he's a good no questioning anything, he's a good yes man, now anaelewa. Okay? So anasifiwa kwa sababu yeye ha-challenge kitu chochote, haulizi swali. Akiambiwa ruka kwa ndege, enda Malava, enda useme hii, anakimbia Malava. Akiwa Malava apigiwe simu, cross over, enda Kericho, sema hivi, ata cross over, enda Kericho aseme vile. Ruka sasa, enda Isiolo, sema hivi, ataendelea kufanya hivyo kwa sababu yeye ni mzuri wa kutii na kutekeleza maagizo. Hakuna makosa na hilo, lakini haya maagizo yanalingana na sheria? Haya maagizo yanasaidiaje nchi kusonga mbele? Haya maono ambayo William Ruto anazungumzia, nimezungumzia hapa masuala ya affordable housing, na kuna of course kuna hii ngoma nyingine inaitwa SHA. Okay, haya mambo yote yanatekelezwa na nani? Na William Ruto. Kwa faida ya nani? Unataka kunaambia hii vita yote ambayo inapigwa mpaka kubadilisha sheria, kwenda bungeni, kupeana hongo kwa wabunge ili wapitishe sheria ya housing levy kinyume na katiba, yote ni kwa faida ya Wakenya? Ni kwa sababu Ruto ako concerned sana watu wanalala kwa mtaro, ako concerned sana watu wanalala kwa mazingira machafu, anataka watu walale kwa mazingira masafi? Is that the reason behind this? I don't think so. And so, like I said, if we want to help this country, and William Ruto indeed intends great things for this country, he should create jobs for Kenyans. Kazi bora, sio bora kazi. Kazi bora, sio bora kazi kama vile baba alikuwa anasema. Sio kazi ya kusukuma wheelbarrow. Ikuwe kazi ambayo ni ya faida. Na hiyo kazi ya faida itatokana na nini? Industrialization. So wewe utoe nyumba badala ujenge kiwanda, unaenda kujenga nyumba ya watu kulala ndani. Kiwanda cha kutengeneza hela unaacha. Wewe unaenda kujenga nyumba watu walale ndani, wakulipe renti, na unaniambia kwamba unasaidia nchi isonge mbele? Sioni hivyo. Kibaki alipoingia madarakani 2002, nchi nzima ilikuwa imedua. Kulikuwa na kitu tulikuwa tunaita jobless corner, zilikuwa zimejaa. Vijana asubuhi kuamka wanaenda kwa jobless corner, kubarizi kwa jua siku nzima, hakuna cha kufanya. But all those were part of the human resource for the country. So to tweak the economy, what did Kibaki do? Ensure that he has what he called a working nation. What did he do with the working nation? Facilitated that these idling young people should be engaged into gainful productivity. So he brought tuk-tuk and brought motorbike. By that time, the boda was on the bicycle. Okay? So he doubled the speed or tripled the speed by ensuring what? Allowing motorbikes to come in at an affordable rate, and of course making facilitation so that the people that needs to engage into that are able to get into that. And what happened? Before long, money got into the pockets of Kenyans. Mama Mboga had somebody to sell mbogas to, and things like that. And vibrant change happened in the country. William Ruto has been in office for now 3 years. How much money has entered your pocket since he came into office? Except for the handouts of hiring you to go and clap for him when he comes to talk to you. Where is the money generation? What has happened that there is no money anymore in the pockets of Kenyans, ordinary Kenyans? And so right now, let Kenyans open their eyes, look around the country. Who is capable of steering this country for the future? And then, of course, mitigating the problems that are on right now and finding a lasting solution for the future of this country. I don't think that future can be achieved under the leadership of the mindset of one William Ruto, who thinks when you're in power, you should begin by creating the road that goes to your house. And of course, using public resources to build roads that go to your house, go to your village, and take care of your people. Kenya must belong to all Kenyans. And Kenya to belong to all Kenyans, it has to be a Kenyan affair, in the sense that the development should not be one-sided, should not be one region, should not be in one area. Invest in coffee, invest in tea, invest in solar, invest in every region, so that it can make sense that what the Marsabit people are enjoying, the people in Nairobi are enjoying the same. What the people in Wajir are enjoying is the same thing people are enjoying here. They have access to food, they have access to clean water, they have access to quality education, they have access to quality health care. It has to be uniform from the east to the west, from the north to the south. That's when you are running the country. But this one, you want to run around with bricks and cement and then deceive people that you are improving their life when you are actually choking them to death. Wakenya, nawakaribisha tumakinike kwa mambo haya. Tusipouliza maswali haya, sisi ndio tutakuwa wa kwanza kulia mambo yakiharibika. And then, of course, That's what I need us to look at. We are taking a short break. When we come back, we'll be looking at what's going on around that is a pointer to where we may land ourselves into if we don't take care and ensure that we are keen to ensure that bad people don't find access to leadership. And so let's ensure that we do that as we take a short break. Stay here, please. Karibisha mtu, like video. Let us do what we must do, and that is question what we must question, and of course, function rightly in securing the welfare of the Kenyan people. It is important. Tusipouliza maswali haya, basi sisi ndio tutakuwa wa kulaumiwa wakati mambo yanaharibika.
Mheshimiwa, juzi rais ampata kula 98. Zile zote za watu wa dini moja, mna Kristo mle. Hapo tunajua. Hivi kuna watu ambao walimpenda Jakaya kama Moses Sulola. Alipita nchi nzima kumtangaza Jakaya ni Masia. Hivi kuna watu ambao wanamsupport Samia kama Wakristo. Hivi kuna watu ambao waliuheshimu Uislamu kama Mzee Mkapa. Mkapa amekutoa chuo cha umma Morogoro kwa hapo Uislamu. Chuo chetu wote kabisa akapa Uislamu. Wakristo walisema. Hakusema Wakristo. Mwenyewe mpaka hapo. Chetu haina udini. Kama watu wanamkosoa rais, haukosoa Uislamu ule. Wanamkosoa rais wao. Kama watu wanampongeza rais, hawapongezi Uislamu, wanampongeza rais wao. Ni uongo, ni kujitoa tu ufahamu. Tanzania hatuna hiyo hulka ya kumtenga mtu kwa sababu ya dini yake. Huko tulivuka. Huko tulivuka. Wewe jibu hoja. Usiingize mada nyingine. Jibu hoja. Wamesema mzee Upako au rais Samia ametenda moja, mbili, tatu, jibu hoja. Usiingize hoja nyingine. Tena udini tu. Vipi mheshimiwa? Kwa rais akiwa Muislamu watu wasitoe maoni yao kwa kuhofia watoto dini. Kwamba rais akiwa John Magufuli Waislamu amefanya mambo ndivyo sivyo katika nchi, Waislamu wasiseme. Sio nasema. Wewe unapata wapi mambo ya dini kama sio mdini? Unawazaje kama dini? Mtu hajataja dini, ametaja pengine mapungufu ya serikali. Wewe unaita mada nyingine ambayo ni hatari zaidi, tena kwa hoja, ni kwa jambo jepesi. Kujenga hisia za udini haraka hivyo kwa jambo ambalo lina mashiko mbaya sana. Sababu mimi nakufahamu hizi za Wakatoliki. Wakatoliki wanatoa nani kila mwaka. Wakati wa nani kuna watu ambao walikuwa wanamwandikia barua mbaya kama John wa Wakatoliki. Walikinzana sana baada ya vita vya corona. Katoliki imetangaza dunia nzima kuna corona, watu ndani. John akasema hapana. Na wajamaa wakaandika ni kuna wakati askofu show kwa hoteli ndio kwa mkoa wa kanisa lao hili. Aliandika nyaraka mbaya zisomwe nchi zote. Hapa bahati wakati mkuu wa Makonda ndio alifanya juu chini sana hapa isisome Dar es Salaam, jimbo la Dar es Salaam kupitia Malasusa. Show na John walikuwa haya hivi. Mpaka tukana tunafikiri show ile ukatoka keti ile ni Chadema. Sasa huwezi kuona sababu haikuhusu. Kwa mfano mimi na gari Viet au Volkswagen. Ndio utazoezi kwa nyingi. Kama unaweza kuiona. Wewe tuwafanye mfano. Kama una shati ya blue, mtu akivaa sababu mfano nyingine utaona. Akivaa kama ya kwako utaiona. Kwa hiyo unapata hisia kama hiyo ni kitu mimi sikubaliana hata kidogo kwamba kuna watu wanamchukia Rais Samia Suluhu Hassan sababu Muislamu. Jamani, alisema Nyerere, mtu yote ambaye amefilisika mawazo atatumia madini ama kabila. Kwa mtu anasema sisi Rais Samia Wakristo wanamchukia sababu Muislamu, amefilisika mawazo tu huyo. Anashindwa kuangalia uhalisia wa Tanzania.
Sababu kauli ya kutoka serikalini hatujasikia hata siku moja kwamba inasema kuna dini fulani anichukia.
Sisi mimi mwenyewe hakuna sijua kwamba Wakristo wengi wanaunga mkono serikali. Umeelewa baba? Umeelewa? Kwa hiyo huwezi kusema eti ni udini. Yaani kitu mimi wanashangaa watu wanaongea nchi gani? Hapa sio Somalia hapa. Hapa sio Vatican najua. Na haribu sifa nchi yetu. Na udini hapa. Sisi tunaishi pamoja kama ndugu kama ila labda kama Mheshimiwa Rais Samia angechagua waziri mkuu Muislamu afu baraza ile usula la kina nani likapinga sasa hapa udini sasa. Au rais ametoa kiwanja cha taifa pale ujenge msikiti afu akapinga udini huo sasa. Unaelewa? Kwa nini napinga? Au rais ametoa baraza la mawaziri wote Waislamu watupu afu baraza si dini hili linasema hili. Bwana kwani hawa sio Tanzania? Hizo hisia za udini au ukabila mnapata wapi? Umeelewa? Lakini hakuna mahala umetajwa Uislamu ama Ukristo katika hizo hoja. Unaanzaje kubeba hisia za udini? Ni jambo baya sana. Juzi rais ampata kula 98. Zile zote za watu wa dini moja, hamna Kristo mle. Hapo tunajua. Hivi kuna watu ambao walimpenda Jakaya kama.
Okay, there you have it. The controversies surrounding the, of course, elections of Samia Suluhu, the president of Tanzania, and then, of course, the excuses that are surrounding the questions that are being raised. And I played that to bring us to this cleverly way of playing politics, whereby when you get cornered that certain issues must be responded to because the masses are asking these questions, you look for an excuse, an alternative way of twisting things around. Like Samia is being questioned. She is elected by 98%. This 98%, where is it coming from? And of course, there were abductions, there were unlawful arrests, and all manner. So when the questions become too much, she now begins to play the card of religion, whereby he says she's being questioned because she's a Muslim, and not, and then of course she's being questioned because she's a woman, and things like that. And so politicians seem to be the same people everywhere, especially in their game of trying to play wherever in the minds and the eyes of the public. And so great care needs to be done, and needs to be taken when we are dealing with this kind of, I'll call them, for lack of a better word, this kind of animals, because they have a way of looking for an escape route when they are cornered in a particular way. And so excuses are a very important ingredient into their playing politics. And so as a people, we must be keen and, of course, firm in insisting, respond to the matters at hand and not look for an excuse to avoid to answer the questions that are being asked. Were you duly elected? Okay. Were you duly elected? Like, I understand there is an active case that was questioning even the eligibility of Samia Suluhu as a presidential candidate, leave alone a president, a presidential candidate, because the process by which she became the CCM candidate was against the CCM constitution. And it wasn't in the due process wasn't followed. And so when things like that begin to come up, and then you begin to play the whatever religious card to try and escape from responding to what is being raised, that is one way that the Kenyan people, or rather the world, needs to be careful about when it comes to these politicians. They will use anything if it will bring them sympathy or it will make people change their mind about it. And we have seen this over and over. You all remember how William Ruto, played with the Kenyans' minds by playing the victim, okay? The victim, Uhuru, is mistreating him because he's a son of a poor man. He has no name. His father is not known. He's the only one who has slept hungry. He's the only one who has gone to school without shoes. These other ones are like children and things like that. And, that playing victim, shedding tears in public, crying foul, foul every day, ended up making Kenyans do what? Vow that they will support him because he's a victim. But what has it turned into? It was suddenly confirmed he's not one of us. He's not a mama mboga, he's not mkokoteni, yes, hiyo mtu wa chini. Kulingana na nini? rasilimali alizonazo, uwezo alionao, mali alionayo, ako kwa ligi moja tu na Uhuru Kenyatta, ako kwa ligi moja na Raila Odinga, and this other, have to do families. So we have all this manner of games being played, and great care needs to be taken, especially to you as a voter. And so we as a people must be, vigilant. And if there's anything I will urge you to be, is be vigilant. Don't be fooled, and don't accept to be fooled. Well, one thing about the William Ruto na viongozi wa upinzani hawana akili. Yeye ndio ako na akili. Hawana maono, yeye ndio ana maono. Hawana uwezo, yeye ndio ana uwezo. Mojawapo ya mjadala huu ni ile exchange katikati yake na Kalonzo. Sasa leo Kalonzo ametoa proof ya kuonyesha kwamba ile barabara ambayo Ruto alikuwa na claim kwamba yeye ndio alianzisha na yeye ndio alilaunch, yeye ndio alifanya, basi Kalonzo naye ametoa nini? Video hapo ya kuonyesha kwamba yeye ndiye alilaunch hiyo barabara na mikataba hata kusainiwa na kupeana hiyo inaitwa nini kwa Kiswahili, hiyo contract kwa particular contractor yeye mwenyewe. So ningependa tucheze hiyo video ili tuone uongo uko wapi, ukweli uko wapi, na nani anayechezewa kama sio Mkenya. Let's get this.
Turnkey contract for upgrading of Kibwezi Mutomo Kitui, contract number 1 ndio hiyo. Alafu kuna contract number 2 Kitui Mwingi Kandwea. Alafu contract number 3 Kandwea Sekuru Sueni. Tusipige makofi. Thank you. Mwaka huu tunatarajia kazi itakuwa imeanza na kuendelea. Na mimi nimefurahia kuona Kibwezi. Wafanyikazi, wafanyabiashara wa Kibwezi tuwapigie makofi. Kwa hivyo hii ndio maneno ambayo pia tuliona ni vizuri tuwatajie. Na mimi kwa upande wangu ni project moja yenye umuhimu mkubwa sana. Juzi alipokuja Vice Premier wa People's Republic of China, mambo haya tulizungumza, serikali tayari imeweka hiyo sahihi, wizara Minister of Treasury wamesign ile inaitwa commercial contract na contractor mwenyewe ni kilomita karibu 400. Na hiyo ni kazi ambayo hii barabara ikikamilika hakutakuwa na sababu yoyote ya mtu atoke Isiolo akiwa anataka kwenda Nairobi, akwenda Mombasa, atoke Isiolo apitie Nairobi. Kwa hivyo itapunguza kwa idadi kubwa sana hata ajali ambazo zinatokea barabarani, because this will open up this country. This is the artery ambayo italeta maendeleo makubwa sana, huku tukijiandaa kwa yale mengine ama changamoto zingine zile. Nataka niwaambie watu wa Kibwezi, chini ya katiba mpya Kenya imeundwa upya. Ndio mnasikia kama Mheshimiwa Ndambuki akisema nataka kuwa senator, wengine nataka kuwa governor. Tunataka kuhakikisha kwamba Kenya ni kitu kimoja. Lakini wakati tukifanya hivyo tuheshimiane. Kazi yangu ilikuwa ni kueleza dunia nzima umuhimu wa Kenya hii kuwa na amani. This is a time for national healing and national reconciliation. Mambo haya hawezi kupatikana ikiwa watu wengine wanatumia mambo haya ya International Criminal Court kusuluhisha tofauti za kisiasa. Wakisikia fulani ameenda wanaona sasa barabara ya kwenda. Turnkey contract for upgrading of Kibwezi.
Sorry about that. The other video doesn't have audio, but you get that. That's an old clip when Kalonzo Musyoka was vice president in the Grand Coalition government, and that is when those contracts for that particular road were done, and he presided over the handing over by himself. And so what William Ruto is claiming that Kalonzo Musyoka hana akili, Kalonzo Musyoka hana plan, yeye amekuwa kwa uongozi miaka hii yote na barabara ya kwenda kwake bado ni ya matope na haipitiki, ni uongo. Okay? Ni uongo, na samahani kutumia hilo jina uongo, lakini hakuna jina lingine zaidi ya hilo, kwa sababu unajua kuna kitu ambacho mimi naamini kwamba watu wakipewa ofisi kubwa ama ofisi ya heshima wanapaswa kuheshimiwa, na mtu pia akiwa amenizidi katika umri, yeye ni mzee ama is an elder, napaswa kumheshimu, na hiyo ndio utamaduni ama itikadi ambayo tumelelewa ndani. Lakini wakati mtu anaanza kudanganya umma, okay, kudanganya umma kwa mambo ambayo yako wazi, hapo mimi nashindwa kuheshimu ama kuchukulia huyo mtu kama mtu mkomavu, kwa sababu mojawapo ya kukomaa katika maisha ni kujiheshimu, na katika hiyo kujiheshimu ni kujihakikisha kwamba unajizuia kudanganya kwa mambo ambayo yako wazi. So hii barabara ambayo Kalonzo anatusiwa nayo na haya mengine yote ambayo yanafuatilia, kumbe historia ipo na mikataba ipo na vile hayo mambo yalikwenda. Na William Ruto yeye amekuwa deputy president kuanzia 2013 mpaka 2022. Kama Kalonzo alikuwa hana akili na hana uwezo wa kutengeneza barabara wakati ulikuwa deputy president, bona hiyo barabara hukutengeneza? Okay, hujakuwa tu deputy president, sasa umekuwa president for another 3 years, mbona hiyo barabara bado ipo vile unavyosema? So jukumu kubwa hapa ni kwa yule mtu amekuwa nje ya ofisi ama yule mtu amekuwa ndani ya ofisi. Who is supposed to carry the greatest blame? Who is supposed to carry the greatest responsibility in this matter? Is somebody who has been in office or somebody who has been out of office? When you look at wherever that entire scenario is that Kalonzo left office in 2013. Okay, he has never been back in that public office in terms of government official responsibility from 2013 to 2025. The person who has been in office all through is William Ruto from 2013 to 2025. Between these two, who should be blaming the other? The person who has been in the office or the person who has been out of office? And that's why, in the hearts of hearts, I don't trust William Ruto. I don't trust William Ruto. And he's very good at turning the story to implicate another person when indeed he's the one to bear the greatest responsibility. And that's why we must be careful in this matter. Because how do you stay in office from 2013 to 2025? You're drawing a salary, but you are busy blaming the people who have been out of office from all that time. We are talking about 15 years or so, thereabout. You've been in office, you've been drawing a salary, you've been living in government house, driving government vehicle, and of course, enjoying all the privileges that come with that. But your mouth and your mind is still in blaming the people that you snatched office from, the people that you kicked out of office. You're still blaming them for the lack of roads. You're blaming them for the failure of healthcare. You're blaming them for the failure of education. That makes you a very strange leader. That makes you a very questionable character. And therefore, Kenyans, it is upon you. You can either go on with the mistake or correct the mistake. But from the look of things, the person playing Kenyans leading in plain Kenyans, I should use that, is none other than William Ruto himself. And so, watch out for the same. Tuache kubebwa ujinga. And so I would say that without blinking, because we as Kenyans have a date with destiny as far as the next general elections are concerned. If we will have this kind of people in leadership, is because we have decided to have them. But if we want them out of office, we have what it takes to get rid of them. Let's use all those resources and, of course, all available avenues legally to get rid of bad leaders. We can never have a great country and a well-governed country by putting wrong people in office. It has never worked. It will never work. And so the only way to correct this country is by correcting its leadership. And we can only correct its leadership by putting right people in right places. Remember, round pegs in round holes, squared pegs in squared holes. When you do it vice versa, you will always have a crisis. And that is what Kenya is good at. Get round pegs, put them in squared holes, get squared pegs, put them in round holes, and then begin to complain education is not working, begin to complain healthcare is not working, begin to complain agriculture, fertilizer has disappeared, oh, fertilizer is not up to standard, oh, the fish is not, all manner of crises which are self-inflicted and, self-created. No, we cannot continue like that as a people. So we must stop the madness by ensuring that the right thing is done. Well, there's this Gen Z here who speaks something else that we must attend to as time begins to fail us. Let's look at this shortly.
2027 is the most important election in our history as Kenya, and here's why. 1. We ought to elect leaders who are confident enough to publicly audit our debt. Unfortunately, till date, wengi wenyu hamjui tuko na deni inatoshanaje, na hapo ndo penye mvua ilianza kutupigia. At this point, a national public debt audit is a non-negotiable. Why? Because our future generations rely on this information. So, it's high time tuanze kuuliza maswali kama, hii SGR ilijengwa na how much, and how much are we owing the people who built it? Otherwise, kukuwa comfortable in this uncertainty will breed nothing but impunity. Siku tutamua unajua ni aje, we are facing these politicians with the hard questions. Unajua most of them will end up in committee. There's nothing such as opposition when it comes to corruption. In layman's terms, namaanisha, wote wanakulia a huge platter that you are not part of. Weshinda hapo, kazi yako ni kuimba 1 term, 2 term. Utaachwa hapo, trapped na madeni ka zote. A storm is coming. Na kama uoni clouds inagather, kula carrots, because when it eventually rains, it will pour. Ask yourself, hii pesa inamwagwa kwa makanisa and harambes, mbona itumiki kufanya kazi yake, which is funding development? Why do we always have to borrow so that we can fund our projects? Unataka kuniambia Kenya ina pesa? Niambie. Political immaturity, tribal politics and gluttony itatupeleka kwa mtaro. Na usitake jua, huwezi toka kwa hiyo mtaro. So make sure you've reposted this video so that it can reach as many Kenyans as possible.
Your vote does matter. Because your vote can make your life a little bit better or a little bit worse. Now, people sometimes, I think, have the wrong idea. Politics is not going to solve all your problems. Poverty will still exist, even if Kamala Harris and Tim Walz get elected, because it's a hard problem. Racism doesn't go away based on one vote or one administration. Those things don't stop overnight. The way you make progress is by making things better a little bit at a time, and then over time, those little differences become big differences. And so, Look, I'll use an example. Because over 8 years, Alyssa, myself, others worked really hard, and we got a lot of stuff done, but there's a bunch of stuff I didn't get done. I didn't solve, for example, all the problems with our healthcare system, but almost 50 million people have gotten healthcare through the Affordable Care Act. It made a difference in their lives. Everybody in this auditorium knows somebody who would not have had health insurance if it hadn't been for that bill. More than 50 million people with pre-existing conditions can no longer be denied coverage or charged more. Before that passed, if you had a kid who got sick, even if they got cured, the fact that they had gotten sick before, that they had a pre-existing condition, they might not have been able to get insurance. I'm using this as an example to tell you that a little bit of change for the better makes a difference. Your vote does matter. Because your vote...
Okay, there you have it. Two things there. There is the agency, they are talking about our public debt and why it should be an agenda when it comes to the coming elections. And then, of course, the audit of that public debt. If there is something in this country that has been the bedrock of the corruption, is this thing we're calling public debt. It has been inherited by every successive administration, and it has been the excuse of why we can't have schools because we are paying debt, why we can't have good roads because we are paying debt, we can't have good health care because we are paying debt. We must begin to analyze and question how much debt do we have, how much time do we have to pay it, how do we begin to pay it to its conclusion, other than us borrowing more and then handing it over to the successive administration. An important matter there. And then, of course, talking about the public debt and the corruption around the same. It appears that we borrow, and what is borrowed is eaten by the other clique of the ruling class, but the debt is given to the public to pay. And so we borrow for SGR. We don't build SGR. Some people pick that money and put them in their pockets, but Kenya has incurred a debt, so Kenya continues to pay for what they did not consume. For example, there was a controversy around Eurobond. Eurobond, we were told it never landed here. Others say it landed, but it disappeared because it was used as part of the budget. The budgeting process and the execution of the same is a constitutional matter. It's a law matter. You cannot spend the whole money for Eurobond and not be able to trace it after spending it. And so there seems to have this aspect of us borrowing for the country, but being consumed by the special clique in the country who are hell-bent to eat up the country using government positions. Now, that is a huge, huge issue in this country. You look and listen to the mentality, especially of that, the William Ruto team, and you notice that the whole essence about getting in public office or becoming president, governor, and all that is so that it becomes your turn to eat. That John Kidongo's book is our turn to eat. And so the government is no longer an institution for serving people and taking care of the interests of the country. It is an opportunity to eat, an opportunity to swindle, an opportunity to loot public resources. And so we have this people with this kind of mentality that when you are in office and you are in power, it is your turn to eat and nobody should stand in your way of eating. If they try to, you eliminate them and do all manner of things against the people. And so the discussion about public debt is an interesting subject that every one of us as Kenyans need to get interested into. And if there is any money that was borrowed in the name of Kenya, but ended up in people's pockets, those people should be held responsible and not Kenya as a country. There is a story about Kano days where we had a clique of people around the president, that's President Moi, who had registered a company called the Government of Kenya. Okay, a company bearing the name Government of Kenya. And it is said that these people were so powerful in the Moi government that when the Kenya government got a grant, okay, you know, a grant where you're given a grant by, let's say, the European Union or the British government or the government of Japan, or you're given a grant. Now the check will be written Government of Kenya. And these powerful people around the president will take that check and go and cash it from the bank. But now see the clearance. Those of you who are familiar with banking process, you clear the check when you mark the company name, and the check is supposed to be honored in whose benefit or who is supposed to pay. So these people had registered a fictitious company called Government of Kenya, would end up taking the money that is meant for the Government of Kenya, instead of it going to the consolidated whatever account, it will now end up into that fictitious company called Government of Kenya, so that they eat the money. And so we have been in this place for too long, and tracing those kind of money and tracing those kind of mess in our country will be an interesting thing to see. And that is why I really would want Kenyans to think deeply, not to take shallow the issues being raised, and then, of course, the rhetoric that politicians are drawing us into. We must begin to keenly assess and then ensure that let the best man among us lead us, not the worst man among us. Leadership belongs to the best among us. My Archbishop of blessed memory, Archbishop Benson Idahosa, used to say, you are not qualified to lead anybody except you know at least 10 times more than they do. And so what really will make somebody a better leader in the country is when he's ahead of everyone else in terms of character, in terms of sense of responsibility, in terms of capacity, and of course, in terms of the vision that he has for the country, not for his village, not for his tribe, not for his region, but for the country as a whole. And that is a matter that we have to ensure that it plays out. And then, of course, there's the clip by Obama, the former president of US, talking about the importance of the vote. And of course, drawing out the reality that voting in a new person doesn't guarantee a solution to all problems, but there is a gradual development towards solving those problems. And that gradual needs to be seen and, of course, to be experienced by the masses. But the really point is the importance of the vote. I don't know if Kenyans are seeing the importance of the vote, especially for the coming general elections. If we don't see the importance of voting, like the telltale signs that we are seeing, especially with the young people, in the past by-election, we saw only the elderly were keen about going out and vote. The young people were not so enthusiastic, and they were not so much, into voting in the by-election. And that, if that's the voter apathy that is going to play, then let's just sit home and prepare for the swearing in of William Ruto for the second term. If we must stop the bad leadership of William Ruto, we must change our attitude towards voting by ensuring that we really see the importance of the vote and go out and ensure that the decision of that voting is indeed going to help the country and not help secure jobs. I laugh at what I'm beginning to hear, especially from William Ruto CS, former, or rather, or do I call them former, or I could say the experts, the ODM experts that joined the broad-based government. You hear them talking and you laugh because they are all crying that if ODM does not support the broad-based government, they are going to lose their job. They are their first minister for finance from their region, or they are their first minister for energy from their region, and all that. And it all, boils to one thing, that being in the government is for your community and for your village. That's not the essence. Bad is a minister for finance for the whole country. Or Wandai is a minister for energy for the whole country. It's not on behalf of Nyanza people. It's not on behalf of ODM people. It's not on behalf of the Luo people. And so we should keep everything in their perspective. And if you are in that office so that you give electricity to the people of Nyanza and deny electricity to the people of Marsabit and deny electricity to the people of Muranga, you are in the wrong office. You are the wrong man for the job. And so we must keep everything in its perspective. And then, of course, serving in government is not any, favor. Serving in the government is supposed to be first and foremost built on competence. Yes, your competence must come at play if we're going to be wherever, anywhere where proper leadership is being done. Meaning that you know that the public office is not for your village, the public office is not for your tribe, it's not for your region, it's for the whole public. And every Kenyan is entitled to the service of that particular office. And so we as Kenyans must refuse to be sucked into the convenience politics of we must save this government because our son is in that government. We must save this government because our son who is a minister of this comes from this village. If the government is not serving the interests of Kenyans, let that entire government be shown the door. And let's find somebody credible, able to help the country move forward, by arresting corruption and ensuring that services are all rendered in the best interest of the Kenyan people. Thank you very much, everybody, as we continue to engage. Namwona engineer hapa. Engineer, siku mingi, namna gani? Karibu. There you go, sir.
Yeah, you have a
Engineer.
new program. Habari gani?
Salama, namna gani?
Nzuri sana. It's been a while. I've been gone for quite a bit, and so today I just saw you nikakuona ukiwa kwa forum, so I decided to hop in.
Great. Karibu, karibu. We changed our service provider to this other one. So,
okay.
But we are still in that transitional season.
Nimesikia. Yeah, I've just been following stuff. I know it's been several months, and a lot of things have happened since then. Of course, the loss of Baba, that was a very big loss, and also the thing that I've always feared and I've always warned people about. And right now, I discussed a little bit about that. I remember last year was so much against Trump becoming president here, and I knew that one way or the other that Trump and Ruto are going to meet. and it's going to be a very dangerous combination. And that is what has happened. And of course, kifo cha Jirongo, which there's so many questions about that. I had some engagements with Jirongo and some other business and stuff like that. And that also hit me kind of, and I'm still trying to figure out what really happened, because there's so many questions to be asked concerning that. So, of course, kifo cha baba, it kind of threw everything out. But then again, it could probably, change. It could still change things if maybe the ODM might split. If they do, then that'll be good. Then it gives chance to the united opposition to come together with one candidate, because kama wataenda na candidates kadhaa. Of course, I was looking at another statistics when Moi was in 1992, how the opposition divided their votes, and Moi went in and was president for quite a while. So it's kind of the same scenario here, and that is what Ruto is planning. He's planning to split the opposition, and even one way or the other, he might even have somebody, tuseme kama Kuria sasa ametoka kwa serikali, lakini we don't know why. Pengine ata, he will run some candidates in, with his chama chake. But we'll wait and see what's going on. And of course, all these constant lies about the economy, and also the appointments that he is making all the time, replacing people from other communities with people from his own community. Like recently, there was this other lady that he appointed to, I think, to the commission. I can't remember what that commission was, but lakini it's we just need to keep our focus, and we still believing in one term. I still believe in that, and it's very achievable. And we have to find a way of how we are going to get that energy of the Gen Zs, and then work with them. And
okay.
In fact, the United Opposition should be working with the Gen Zs to form something formidable for, so that we can dislodge this guy. So, kwa hivyo, because kama vile nimesema, I was telling somebody last week, we went to a friend's house, and we were discussing, and I was telling them, Ruto is very, very, very smart. That's one of the things that people don't really, I give him credit for that. He is a very good political, he reads the room very well, and he reads the world very well. And that's how he was able to squeeze himself, even though he had aligned himself with China. But I remember him sending an emissary before the general, the United Nations General meeting. He had sent an emissary ahead so that they can arrange a meeting with him and Trump. And I heard that there was some money that was exchanged or something. And, he was persistent in it, and he was able to gain that access to Trump, knowing that Trump really likes people that are, strong-handed, strong men, and people that can be able to sell, because the United States is looking for resources. Hata hiyo mambo yote ya Kongo na nini, ni resources tu wanataka kutoka huko, sio kitu ingine. And also I heard that in Mount Kenya they found this rare earth, which is also another battlefront. And who knows, maybe that was also discussed in that. So it's a very, very dangerous combination, but I do believe that the key is hata kama atarig kama vile alirig Bere na kule kwingine, we need to make the margins very wide such that now I can, it's not going to be any contestable, so kwa hivyo, I'm happy to be back again to discuss with you guys. Tuendelee na hii mwaka ya mwisho ya Ruto 2026. I'm calling it the last. As a matter of fact, it should be on the way out. So thank you very much. I'll just stay over here and listen.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you very much. And probably the issue about the united opposition. One, from my observation, is too early to bring about that unity. It gives William Ruto an own goal, in the sense that with one stone he hits them all. But if everyone goes their own way and then they will converge sometime later, it gives him a hard time. Like, for example, you see he's targeting, at the moment, he's targeting Kalonzo, okay? And then, of course, this other side, there is Matiang'i. And then, of course, there is Gachagua on this other side. If they are different, he will find it hard to fight each one of them in the rallies. But if they are working together, they have one spokesman, they have one office and all that, he will be hitting them like he's now calling them hawana akili, hawana mpango, hawana maono. And then, of course, also there is the advantages and the disadvantages of the united opposition in terms of getting one candidate. It makes rigging very easy in the sense that the 50+1 is concentrated on one, the way they concentrated on Baba, and ensured that they rig in such a way that a slight margin gives one 50+1. And so in my observation, I see that there's more advantage if each political party will field a candidate. We may be able to lock out William Ruto by ensuring that he becomes number 3 and then the rerun is between the other opposition people that we want to choose. And so the forcing of the unity of opposition at this point in time, to me, is not to the advantage of the opposition and not to the advantage of Kenya. It is to the advantage of William Ruto. Let us make William Ruto, give William Ruto a run for his money by ensuring that he spends a lot fighting Matiang'i, spends a lot fighting Gachagua, spends a lot fighting Kalonzo, especially this year and the coming year, so that by the time we get to really, really campaign, his team has been what? has been spent. And so when the opposition finally converges, it will be easy to deal with William Ruto, and let them converge when it becomes really necessary for them to converge. But if they do this early, mimi naona hapo kuna game. And then, of course, William Ruto's style of politics of infiltrating the opposition or the other political party by ensuring that he sponsors favorable sycophants to dance for him even when they are from opposition party. So I don't know how you see that. And then, of course, you talked about the Gen Z. The Gen Z are not, showing the steam they are supposed to show, especially with their enthusiasm to take voters' card. What's cooking? Are we still counting on them, or we should prepare for something else?
I like the way you just explained it there, that having Ruto fight in different fronts. will make him spend all the money and energy. And I think that would be a very good strategy. I see it. I see it. Kama sasa alikuwa anapiga Kalonzo. I was reading I was reading that the other day. And then probably, aende kwa Gachagua, then Matiang'i, and Wamalwa and all that. And then he's fighting and spending a lot of money all over the place. And then there you go, his, because of all the resources he has spent, and not really concentrating on one person, then it makes him weaker when they come together in 2027. And like you just said, like we are just saying here about the Gen Zs, we still need to find a way of how to get them on the table. Because Abu Gen Zs are seeing is the same guys that put us in this situation, come on, and that's what Ruto is actually saying. When I read his message about his answer to Kalonzo, he said that you have been you've been in politics the last 50 years or something like that. Then Kalonzo answered him back, no, panas ni 40. But I think Kalonzo should have told him, should have answered back to him in a much more different way, because Ruto was just, Ruto doesn't care. But as long he throws something, he throws something out there, he knows that it's going to stick, and you're gonna have to throw something different from that, so that at least it gets the narrative continuing, and it cancels out what he was talking about. Juu sasa alikuwa anataka kuonyeshana, wewe umekuwa kwa siasa miaka mingi, lakini forgetting that Ruto himself has also been in kwa siasa miaka hiyo mingi, and he was in power. I think that was what you was mentioning about that Kalonzo was not in power. Ruto has been in power as a deputy president and now president. So, we need to put him in there. That way he's not running from that, from that. Mambo hiyo ya ati wewe umekuwa kwa siasa miaka mingi. Hata yeye amekuwa kwa siasa miaka mingi. Amefanya nini? Ni kupora mali kila wakati. Yes.
By the way, I think Kalonzo was first elected in 1988 and Ruto was elected in 1992. So what is the difference between them? 4 years. So they should give us account on what they have done, both of them.
Yes, that is correct. Yes, there's not a big difference. 1988 to 1992, that's only maybe a difference of 4 years. So there's no big difference. And of course, Kalonzo was, I think, went in as an MP. I don't know whether he was working. At those days, you could not be MP without really working without Moi really giving, saying, hey, so, kwa hivyo, but the thing is that he has been so close to power, closer than even Kalonzo has been. Kalonzo has been away from power for so many years. So he's not really a factor when it comes to having, being in power for that long. And so, and I think Ruto is doing that so that he can get the Gen Zs now look at that, because the Gen Zs were mentioning stuff like that. And that's why the united opposition need to find out how they're going to get that energy of Gen Zs waweke huko, alafu tuendelee hivi. Hata kama tutakuwa na deputy president who is Gen Z, I'm very much for that. I am very much for that. And that's what they need to be working on.
I agree with you. Thank you so much. It is important, and that's why the strategy team for the opposition need to think out of the box. And then, of course, they are also, that aspect of get a candidate that may not be so much maybe experienced in terms of having served in politics for long, but he has a place for the young people, like what the Kenya Moja is pushing for. The Caleb Hamisi, the Sifuna, and all that. Saying wazee wote wakanu waende, ni wakati wetu. So if they will able to be able to come up with that and probably strike a balance that we have this youthful leader supported by an elderly leader, and then of course the youthful leader will bring about all the agencies, and then there will be a different way of running the affairs of the country other than the usual games. What is at play right now is people are looking on how to protect whatever they have looted. And it looks like our elections is all about who is going to protect what we looted. And so we need to have a surprise candidate that will shake the system by ensuring that we'll never have business as usual. But what we've been treated to, especially the disappointing greatest change that we caused in 2002, where Kenyans were most hopeful and knew the game has changed completely. Then suddenly we flipped back. And then, of course, all our hopes were buried and wrapped up into the new constitution. So in 2010, we went out and voted in a new constitution, and we believed that with the new constitution, we have buried all our problems. We are now headed for the new Kenya. But what happens? The enemies of progress found a way to sneak in and infiltrate and frustrate the implementation of the new constitution until now, so that there is a perpetuation of the ills against the majority of Kenyans. And so, as a people, we really seriously need a leadership that is going to be not compromising when it comes to implementation of the constitution and, of course, the rule of law. Just by getting Kenya functioning according to the constitution and according to the rule of law, most of our issues will be addressed. The really problem lies with somebody in leadership who doesn't want to follow the constitution, who doesn't want to respect the constitution, and then, of course, is using rule of law selectively. When it favors him, it's okay. When it doesn't, he wants to throw that away or look for amendment of the same. And therefore, Kenyans have homework to assess. Do they want to continue with business as usual, or they really want to really change, as it is important?
Yes, that is correct. I'm wondering. I've yet to read how this young man in Senegal was able to become president, and I don't know whether the dynamics that were there are the same as what is in Kenya right now. While there are some people that were in the government for long, that they had a certain opposition, and then this young man came in there and won that presidency. Can we be able to do such? Can the Gen Zs be able to do that in Kenya?
If I remember that story, I hope I'm right about it. It was circumstantial in that the really opposition leader got arrested, like Tundulisu. I was thrown in. But the political party, the opposition political party, had that young man as a vibrant secretary general. And so they swapped the seat and made this one a candidate at the 11th hour. And then he sailed in. And that's what Kumekucha was saying, that the ODM, okay, should have swapped Raila with Sifuna and Sifuna sails in without that political package. And so that is what one of the things I'm praying for, that we will have this clean, youthful leadership that will come in so suddenly that the system will not be able to prepare to counter whatever it is that he will come in. And then when he comes in, links up with the minds like Ibrahim Traore and all that, and we'll have a new Kenya without much struggle, because hao watu wote tuwafunga wapeleke kamiti.
That is interesting. I wish that such a thing would happen, and it's very possible it could happen. Or Ruto just makes a mistake and puts one of the main guys in, or does something that, and then there you go, and then now we don't have the main guy now running, and here comes a young person that takes over, and there you go, and then the Gen Zs now are behind, and there you go, and then we change the government. That's the most ideal that we can have. To kubadilisha mambo ya Kenya, we need new blood. Not about, that the people have never, been in those kind of, governments before. We need new mind, and so that we can move forward. So I like you mentioning that, and I haven't really studied that Senegalese how they did it, but if that's how they did it, then we need to be getting ready for that in Kenya. Kwa sababu Kenya, mi naona, ninaona Ruto akienda nyumbani. I've never woken one day and thought that Ruto is not, Ruto is going to continue on to be president in Kenya. I've never believed that, and, like I was saying, like, even before the Gen Z movement, we were talking about having this maandamano everywhere, even the whole world, and we were trying to not to really get to 2027. But right now it's looking like, Ruto might see 2027. But there's still a chance. There's still a chance that, but I don't know how. I think there's not that energy now to, because I don't know whether people have become demoralized na mambo ya maandamano na nini, even after we watch what happened in Bangladesh and these other places, Nepal before that. I mean Sri Lanka. So I do believe that next year, 2026, if we can continue pushing on, and actually the perfect scenario, like you just said, would be kuwe na maandamano next year, alafu one of the main guys amweke ndani or does something to him, and there you go, now it gets the Gen Zs now, take over the thing. So we still need to continue pushing. We need to continue pushing. That way we can walk his hand so that he can get himself in a fix. Ambayo hawezi kutoka.
Which is true. And then you talked about something serious happening. I think Ruto is the one doing those things already, as in the demise, these unclear circumstances of the death of Jirongo. It's a political matter than it is an accident or what they are trying to make it look like. If he had made any inroads in terms of getting the Western vote, that one is no longer now a guarantee. And then, of course, the community of Jirongo is not that of, an easy one. The Jacob Juma did what they did, but these ones are going to do their thing. And so the matter of William Ruto is that even if people are not attacking him, he attacks himself by engaging into things that are to his disadvantage without him knowing that they were going to end up at his disadvantage. On the other hand, he has the law to deal with because the civil society and then, of course, the legal fraternity are still pushing for some of the violations that have taken place. And one of it is this so-called empowerment program. People are demanding or they want audit. Where does the money come from? How does that money get in play? Wherever who authorizes the auditor general, it doesn't know. There is also overspending from State House. How does State House get 12 billion allocation when education is 3 billion? And things like that. And so there is a lot going against William Ruto than even what we can envision to happen. So if we really want to get rid of Ruto, it may not even be maandamano. We can do that clearly, legally, and be able to get him out of office. On the other hand, the political capital for what do we call it? For associating with William Ruto is diminishing with every passing day. Meaning, the closer we get to elections, the more people are going to run away from him. And that means if there is a tabling of a vote of no confidence or impeachment, the members of parliament are going to, vote this time based on how convenient is it. And of course, kuna wale ambao watakubali kulipwa because how wanajua they will not be elected. And so, but I believe that if a motion like that comes up, the voting will not be as usual, including those that wants to be bribed or are going to be bribed. Meaning that even if you eat a bribe and you vote otherwise, and this person gets out of office, he doesn't have the machinery to catch up with you. And so betrayals are going to take place on a high scale at this point in time. And so all we need as, I think, people who seek the betterment of this country is to think outside the box and then have many options. Let's not put all our eggs in one basket, like we did with Baba, okay? That every vote goes into this one basket, and when that goes bad, we don't have another alternative. So the only alternative left is we go to the street or we go and begin to grieve. What we need is diversity. Let's have an experienced politician like Kalonzo, or we have a trusted politician like Matiang'i as a candidate. But beside that, we have a youthful clear group also that are in there on the ballot, and they're chasing the same as the young people. And with that diversity, at the 11th hour, the way NAC did, at the 11th hour, NAC was created the rainbow, I think 2 months or 3 months to election. And so everybody go hunting, and then we see where is the heart. And then when we see the majority of the people are this way, then we throw our weight behind that particular place where everybody is. And it will be easy to send William Ruto home. But if we play into his trap, like the trap is inviting us to have exchanges over nothing, or over 2 term, 1 term, or exchanges over who brought the road, who did not bring the road, we should avoid those debates and just focus on, is Kenya headed in the right direction? Is Kenya having right functioning healthcare system? Education, is it quality education? Is our development agenda really working out for the good of Kenya or benefiting the investors and whatever suppliers of raw material? This housing thing, is it for the good of Kenya or it is for the poverty of Kenya? Because what I see with this housing thing, every person who has invested money in it is going to cry eventually. It will collapse like a pyramid scheme, and everybody will be left poorer than they were when they got in the same. Are we going to wait for that to happen before we raise the alarm? I don't think so. And so as Kenyans, we have a lot that we can do to stop William Ruto. It's not just one way. 2027, there's also the constitutional issue there. Will we have elections in 2026 or 2027? When that, like I was listening to Willis and he was talking about that has already been determined by, or rather ruled over by the Supreme Court, and it appears that the elections may come early. If we have the elections in 2026, Ruto is not prepared to, get more Kenyans on his side. 68% of Kenyans still think the country is headed in the wrong direction. So the earlier the elections, the worse for Ruto. So we can push for early election. We can push for multiplied strong candidates so that the vote gets split. We achukue 20, mwingine achukue 30, mwingine achukue 30. So nobody makes it to 50 plus 1. And then we ensure that in this top 3, okay, Ruto is number 3. So he is not eligible for the rerun. Mtu aende nyumbani polepole amenyamaza. And then tubaki na hawa sasa wawili, tuchague nani atakuwa rais eventually. Engineer, you can respond as we begin to wrap up. It's 3 a.m. in Nairobi.
You're bringing very good, ideas, and I really like it. You mentioned something about audit. Is it right that I heard that Ruto had promised that there was going to be an audit on audit?
He even set up a committee that was fought. So, Ruto gives with one hand and takes with the other.
Okay. Then if that is in the court, then we need to wait for what the outcome of that. And also that other case about the election being held in 2026. I recall somebody bringing a scenario that actually the actual 4 years should be in 2026. If that is still going on in the case in the courts, then that would be a very good thing to, like, kama vile umesema, catching Ruto, off guard, and there you go, and then he's gone. So let's pray that all these things are going to work, and even if they don't, then 2027 at least we have all the ducks lined so that we can send this guy home, because every moment he's given is just lying. Sometimes lying about things that are actually facts. It's just, wakati mwingine anasema ati unga ilikuwa sijui nini, fertilizer ilikuwa nini, anasema my good one is kusema ati dola ilikuwa 160 wakati alikuwa president. That's a lie. Mafuta sasa iko chini kabisa globally, because there has been that slowdown on the economy. So why are Kenyans still paying more than even some of our neighbors? We're paying even less than even Uganda, which doesn't even have a port. And that also reminds me when he was kind of agreeing with Museveni that, hey, was he like suggesting to give a part of coast to Museveni so that his oil can be, his
Museveni want part of the ocean, so we should just arrange on how he can carry it. So
I really don't think it would be so far-fetched that Ruto would make such kind of an idea and actually actualize it with exchange of money.
You said the combination of Ruto and Trump is dangerous, and
yes.
What you're saying is not far-fetched, because the way we handled Migingo, okay, leaves a lot to be desired, okay, Until now, we are talking about Kibaki was out of office. We are talking about almost 15 or 10, 20 years, where Migingo, when it's clearly a Kenyan property, is being occupied by Uganda unconstitutionally, and Museveni is sitting pretty as he arrests Kenyans and make them to eat raw fish for fishing around Migingo. Now, if William Ruto, being the dealer that he is, and there is a deal to sell part of Kenya so that it hooks Uganda to the ocean, do you see William Ruto selling that without even the parliament? Because Ruto works outside the law.
Yeah.
Sorry,
that is,
your mic is off.
Yeah, that is interesting. So, Ruto is, we such a thing to happen. It's not really hard for it to happen because he is known to make that kind of. Even how he got to the White House, a lot of people are left with what, and then now Trump is inviting him to be a guest in the Olympics. I'm like, how did that happen? Although I was expecting that was going to happen. So kwa hivyo pengine amefanya deal na Museveni about hiyo mambo ya port. Pengine tumepatia Uganda a little bit of that.
They can be raising that for political reasons. Political reasons means the deal is already done. They are looking for its implementation. And its implementation, since it's going to get public resistance, they are preparing the public for the eventual execution of the same by bringing it as a political discourse. And so, as Kenyans, we must be very vigilant on this matter, or else it gets us unawares. You see the way the opposition, I'm talking about the old constitution, and the government used to work together, where when the price of, you talked about the price of fuel wants to go up, and the government doesn't have a good excuse on why the price of fuel should go up, they will pay one of the opposition members of parliament, and then you go to the floor of house or call press conference and say, I've heard that the government is planning to raise fuel. We will not accept it. We will not let that happen. And then now that makes the public to begin to discuss fuel increase. And then before you know it, the government increases and there are no repercussions because people have exhausted the discussion by arguing among themselves. And so for Museveni to talk the way he talked and then invites Ruto to be part of his campaign team and say what they said in that particular setting, we may be too late on this matter. I just pray that we are not. Unless you have something to add, engineer, you can add as we bring in Brother Benson to air on the same.
Hey, Bernard.
Well, you can give Brother Benson a chance now.
Sawa. Benson, namna gani? Karibu.
Mzuri, mi naona message yako, lakini ni ile hali ya kushikana na sipati nafasi leo, hata nimekimbia sana ili nikuje.
Karibu, kawia ufike.
Asante sana, niona nataka kufunga, hata nikasema wacha nikuje nichangie hata kidogo. Unajua, one of the things that we are discussing, I don't know whether you know Kenyan voters and the Kenyan people. When you look at President William Ruto right now, I feel and I think I'm looking at it politically. President William Ruto is so much ahead of his competitors. And the reason why I'm giving that is because the way he has started to manage himself, or the way his ambassadors, especially, are campaigning for him. You know, when you look at 2021, President William Ruto came up with a narrative, and that narrative was opposed, and people gave different explanation, especially when you talk about hustler. Remember those days that people would go to TV, and he kept pushing for hustler. Then he created the hustler nation, and this hustler nation was everybody was included, you know. And he brought in hustler nation, there was also the issue of dynasty. Yeah. So like now, if you're very keen, and you're very keen, and President William Ruto is teasing the Singapore, he teases it, and people are buying it. And one thing that you have to understand about the Kenyan voters and the Kenyans, we have people we call the political elites. And who are the political elites? One, we have them in the political circle, the leaders, and us. We are the people who are questioning the Singapore, because, like, if I'm told we want to go the Singapore way, I will try and do research and see that how did the Singapore reach where they are. So I will be dealing with the facts, I will be dealing with evidence, and I will be dealing with numbers. Then there are the masses that do not deal with the facts, but they're dealing with emotions. You see that? So you will find that President William Ruto has learned the art that he's not going to deal with the people, the political elites who are questioning the bottom up. What did bottom up do? No, he's not dealing with those. The people who are questioning how did why did you have to do our port, the finance bill, and all that? Those are the political elites who wants to know, and they're not driven with emotions. These are people who are driven by facts, and there are few of them. Then we have the masses who are driven by emotions. They're being told we are going to Singapore. They don't want to know how did the Singapore or how did Malaysia be how it is. The houses are there. That is Singapore. We are creating njia kutoka western, hiyo saizi unaona picha yake inatembea. We are going to do that dwelling, and those are the things that are driving the masses, and he has learned that art, and that art is going to pay him off. And you will agree with me. I'm just looking at it politically without looking at what they're not even talking about corruption. Nobody's questioning about corruption right now. That is one. Then there's another group here that we would call the Raila traditional voters. They're those who voted for Raila. Raila is not around, and is him being not around plays a major political one, because people love Raila, and you find that everything that the people who love Raila have asked for, President William Ruto has given them. He was given the state burial, that for the masses, for the people who love Raila Odinga, that are driven by emotion, they will have to pay you off. They will have to give back for what you've done. You call for Talanta Ella, that is taking place. Everything that now those who are the good lovers of Raila Odinga, anything that they will ask right now, President William Ruto will give them, because that is what emotion is all about. So as much as we might be telling Kenyans, okay, now we need to be very factual and make sure that we elect leaders who might change, no, it is not going to be possible until that time even the opposition themselves come out. Because if you look at even the opposition that want to compete President William Ruto, they're not still communicating, or they're not still working on that path of how can they unite. So it is quite still not very easy. Not that I'm supporting him, but these are the observations that I'm making. And at one point, 2027, if you come here, you will sometimes tend to agree with me that those observations, based on the 2021, the narratives, it really worked, and the Singapore will be working for him.
Thank you. That is a very serious diagnosis, and following what you have given, I see the picture clearly. and also the I don't care attitude of William Ruto. You people can argue on numbers, but at least something is working according to him. And
Yeah.
so he will keep saying that until it is too late. But on the issue of opposition coming together, uh, the coming together of opposition at this point in time is unnecessary. It is an own goal if that happens. And then political coalitions are not done out of convenience, are done out of inconvenience as last resort, to say the least. Wamalwa, Angilu, and of course, Raila did not go to the table because they wanted to. They
Yeah.
went to the table because they had to.
True. Yes.
Okay? So we have not reached to that place where they have to. And until we reach that place, if they come together now, they are only going to disintegrate. Unakumbuka kitu ilikuwa inaitwa G7 2013, 2012. Walitembea pamoja, wakaombewa pamoja, wakawekewa mikono, lakini election iliposogea karibu, kila mtu alienda njia yake. That is the danger of having a united opposition too early in the day. And so what I would advise or into what you're saying is there is a huge need for civic education where the public needs to understand that a country is not led by benevolence and handouts, which is the philosophy of William Ruto. And I know to convert Kenyans from that is going to take an arm and a leg, but I think it's a responsibility that we must all shoulder, because we'll never change this country as long as kuna watu ambao wamefungua mikono ama wamefungua midomo wamiminiwe vitu na wakishamiminiwa vitu wanapoteza akili yote. Somebody sent me, I think there is Dan Metro, one of us here, alituma klipu ingine alipost klipu ingine kwa Facebook ya Okanga in the village trying to address wamama, na wamama sokoni wamekataa kabisa kusikiliza Okanga.
Nuru.
Sio mimi nashindwa Okanga ameokosea nini, na nao ni wamama wazee. Okanga ni mtoto wao, wanakataaje kumsikiliza?
Maybe Bernard, before engineer comes in, I don't know whether, because this is what Eric Latif wrote, and this is what Eric, I quote him: with less than 2 years to the next general election, Ruto shifted the narrative, or Ruto has shifted the national conversation like he did in 2021 when he introduced the hustler narrative. Now the nation is onto a new narrative, Singapore. The president is selling a new dream of possibility that Kenyans can live like the people of developed nation. He doesn't describe what exactly that lifestyle looks like, but they just imagine it and believe. That is what Eric Latif. So it is. He brings what we call the believability. And this believability is because of emotion. People, it is that emotion. I say that, okay, maybe they can get those small pictures that are being put. Okay, I'm going to be like I'm in Singapore, and say, okay, wacha timpatie huyo. That believability. Yeah. So that is a Kenyan voter, and you will agree with me at some point.
I'm not opposed to what you're saying. I get the picture and the release scenario, but there is what is and there's what should be. And if what is not what should be, our energy should be invested into making what should be, and not accepting what is simply because that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Engineer, you can come in.
Yeah, it's just interesting, what Brother Benson has said. And actually reminds me, they see this new radio that just started, and I think one of the guys that used to be on Spice TV now is part of it, RG. I think it's Radio Generation. I listen to them every morning. And they've had several guests in there that very interesting ideas. There's Nganga Muigai talking about civic education and how we should actually be now mandating that schools start teaching the Constitution, the Kenyan Constitution, because a lot of people don't understand it. And it's a major, major document. And that's where you can be able to unlock a lot of these things that we keep on dealing with. The other person is Professor Ogola. I just listened to him the other day. And they so what happened to Morara Kebaso? He used to do all this other stuff. I know there was some controversy in there. There's also another young man that is doing farming in Mandela. Farming in Mandela, and actually, I believe what he talks about. That actually, Northeastern, if you're able to kujenga boreholes everywhere, kama vile Israel iko, in the desert, and they're able to provide food security. So, all these things need to be brought together, and we need to be engaging ourselves in teaching people about all these things, mambo ya constitution, how we can be self-sufficient. Hii mambo ya serikali saidia is still going on. Why is it at serikali saidia, even a little thing that happens, hey, serikali saidia? I think
that's the government that William Ruto wants. The government that is needed by the people, begged by the people, worshipped by the people. That he will do anything to get that government.
And Brother Benson also brought up this issue about Singapore. I've been watching that. I'm like, I mean, Singapore. Hold on. Are you telling people how Singapore got to where it's at? Or you're just bringing this and say, hey, by this time we're gonna be Singapore. Like you're not giving the roadmap to it. Because you should be saying, okay, we're gonna do this and that, just like how Singapore and Malaysia did. Lakini kusema, tutakuwa kama Singapore miaka sijui, I don't know what, without really explaining, and nobody is asking those questions. Mr. President, you're saying that we're going to be like Singapore. How are we getting there? What's the foundation? Have you built the foundation for that? He hasn't. Ni kuzungumza tu. Wow.
William Ruto has become a motivational speaker. If you are keen, of late, he's a motivational speaker. And like Benson said, he tells you something that you can believe, even when it's obviously that this is not going to happen. You just have that feeling that what if it happens? And then it gives you false hope, where you keep hoping and never arriving, and there is no opportunity of you asking on how come this has not happened. Like right now, you see the way he's running away from bottom up. Because me, I want him to tell me how many Kenyans have moved from Madare to Kileleshwa, have moved from Kibra to Karen. That bottom up reality, where is it? If it is not there, then Singapore is also not possible.
Bernard, when you look at like if you want to go to Singapore, and we use it as a benchmark, there are few things that they put in place to even to make them where they are, including some of their big companies, or some of their manufacturers. Some of them are not even in Singapore. Some of them are outside Singapore, so they get the money from when in our case, is driven. Look at even what is happening. Look at the donation that the president is giving. in only a month in churches that president is contributing. That's one person, and as he contribute that, there are some government entities that are not performing well because of money. I remember coming in January, the JSS teachers, they are going on strike, because the like the president or the money is not there. But you'll find people like the CS for Treasury Mbadi, they will have like very, very, do I call it attractive words that they use when they give this, when they are in these forums. They talk to you, they will tell you some of the things that you layman, as a person, you will not understand, that we are headed in the right direction. So, and I don't know at what point, especially even the country will come and question themselves and say that, what kind of leadership do we want, or what country do we want? That should be that question. We should first of all, look at who are we going to elect. Because what we fail to understand is, one, when people coalesce, or when people say that, okay, tribe, okay, that is our tribe, or it is this time our tribe. One thing that people forget is that the tribe usually does not lead the country. The person who you voted for, that is the person that is going to lead the country. You can vote for him as, okay, he's our tribesman, yes, but your tribe will not lead that country. It's that person. So if you don't do much research on this person, and maybe put some questions regarding him, then you are going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem. We are going to have a big, big, big problem. And even if you look at the election that we are going to in 2027, the election itself, there's so many questions that still need to be answered. The preparedness, the capability, the efficiency, security. So there's still so many questions that are being asked. So those are some of the things that even as we retire, we have to ask ourselves.
Yeah, I agree with you. A lot needs to be done, and of course, a lot is left to be desired in terms of our preparedness. We should believe for a miracle. What we cannot do, we should let God do it for us, because from the look of things, the future of this country is at stake if we continue looting and consuming at the rate at which we are consuming. Because if it was just bad management, and there is at least savings of the resources, there will be hope. But now we want to sell all our assets and put it in one basket and give it to Ruto to keep for us.
When you look at the political aspect of it, is that even to the voters themselves. I've been following up on especially the Luo Nyanza politics has been one of my keen interest following, and we usually have discussions, especially with other vernacular in Luo land. And today, Bernard, I'm telling you today again. One time, 2027, you will tell me. We know that there's that voter apathy that usually happens in the Luo, especially when it comes to voting. Like, people do not turn out in large number. And I think with the absence of Raila, people might turn out, a lot of them. The percentage will go up. And the reason why I'm saying the percentage will go up based on few things. One, the UDA and the working between ODM and UDA. Because you will find in various areas whereby the other time there was that Wanga and Raymond Omolo. You had there was that issue of Wanga and Raymond Omolo. But what happens? Everybody, all of them, the supporters of Wanga and the supporters of Raymond Omolo, do you know what they say? They all of them call President William Ruto to come and talk to these people. So it tells you one thing, that they have unifying factors. The only place that they disagree is down here. But the place there they have an agreement is at the top. So which means that one will make them come out. That is one. Secondly, it's about the issue of the money that is being used, to motivate. Yeah, motivate. And people will come out, and that one also will depend on how ODM are going to do their nomination. In the history, they've never done good nominations. And what that one tells you is that with them working with the UDA, despite the fact that they want to do zoning, that one is not going to happen because like the UDA candidate and everybody. And President William Ruto is a very, 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 I tell you, I don't know whether you study President William Ruto is creating new leadership that you don't know. What happened in central Kenya is a replica of what is going to happen in Nyanza. That the people who are coming, they're going to be new leaders that you've never even wondered, where did these people come from? Who would know that people like Kabogo and people like Ndindi Nyoro came, like and that is what is going to happen. By the time you realize, you will find how weak they are. Even right now, they are weak. So when we are looking at that area, and Raymond Omolo is getting inroads in Duo, Nyanza, and that's why the fact is, when they were burying the journalist, the mother of journalist, we had the party leader of ODM was around. We have the chairperson of ODM and all the leadership of the core leadership of ODM were around. But who did the mother call out to actually assist to make sure that the kids get employment? He reached out on Raymond Omolo, who I don't think was even was present during the burial. And that one is going to play a major role. I'm telling you, we will talk about it.
Yeah, that's interesting, and on a kind of ground, mambo ni different. But the politics of Raymond and Wanga and Tim
Yeah.
is an interesting one in the sense that Raymond is a technocrat. Number one is a PS.
Yeah.
He's not in the active Luo politics, although he's being sucked into the same by reason of using the government, closeness to government or being part of government to lure the vote. But that is not strange with the Luo politics in terms of pro-government people will always come with a money bag and try to buy the loyalty of the people through the money.
Yeah.
And probably this is the only time when this is happening in the absence of Raila Odinga, because Raila Odinga has had a way of shaking off all that. If you can remember Tuju, even Owalo, and Dalmas Otieno, all those pro-government politicians. The Luo politics has been always for hire or for purchase, and the money will be poured greatly in terms of development and mobile clinic and what have you. But at the end of the day, when the Luo people will go to the voting, to the booth, they will not consider these people who have come with money bag. So this is the time we will test on whether the Luos can be bought by money or not in terms of the masses, in terms of voters. But historically, they have disappointed. And I hope they will do the same. Secondly, you're saying that they will come out in mass to vote.
Yeah, they will.
The motivation is what I don't get.
The
Probably
motivation-
we'll discuss that
No,
anytime.
before you close, let me
Yes.
just tell you, Bernard. I'm talking
Yes.
before you close. Is the
Yeah.
motivation is this? You know, the influence of the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga is not going to die today. The Right Honorable Prime Minister is still influential, and the reason why they are going to vote, because I was talking to you about what we call the politics of emotions. That is what I was talking for you about. Look at what has happened with President William Ruto. President William Ruto gave Raila state burial and all that decoration that it comes with, the package that it comes with. Yes, he was given. Secondly, during his burial, Gladys Wanga talked about, we want the Talanta Stadium, to be named after Raila. What happened? The President William Ruto gave it. Another thing that is coming is on the pipeline, the Kisumu International Airport. They're saying that this airport has to be named, And when you do those strategic places, especially the stadium and the airport and what you did, that is emotions. And the emotions are going to go high. And how are they going to do that? It's going to do that. We are going to pay you back.
By voting you in office.
Yes. Bernard, we are here. I'm telling you.
I'm not in any way dismissing what you're saying. I'm simply finding it a very, I would say, a weak link in terms of getting people out to vote. If we look closely on the Raila support, let's say Raila, one of the reasons why Raila, we would say, technically get rigged out of office is the Luo Nyanza vote. Okay? The Luo Nyanza vote is never up to optimum. When Kakamega and the other parts are voting 70%, you will see Luo is around 60, 55% thereabout. Meaning, if they came out 100%, we would not be having this kind of whatever easy rigging that always say like the 200,000 votes that Raila did not make for Nini to become president. And so the motivation for people to come out and vote, ile umera ile inakuanga Mount Kenya, is not even going to be there because they have always gone out to vote to stop Raila. Now Raila has been stopped. We're going to have countrywide voter apathy from not only Nyanza, including
Western.
Even Western, because Western people vote for a hero, vote for a warrior, vote for somebody who is going to be probably, if Natembea right now is the in person, and I have also seen Oparanya is making a comeback. Probably he will run for Senate of Kakamega, which I believe he can get if he runs. If we have those Vigogos coming back, the tide can change. But if William Ruto is the motivation and William Ruto is the reason, watu watalala hiyo siku, watalala kama ile repeat election.
What about those traditional Raila voters who will be scared? Because, the scary part of it is Rigathi Gachagua is a scarecrow that is being used, that if you don't vote for him, then if you vote Gachagua, they are going to undo everything that we've done.
Gachagua is not going to be in the ballot, number one.
He's not going to be in the ballot, but he has to support some angle.
No, it makes one of the things I see about Gashagwa, probably we'll discuss this tomorrow or today later in the subsequent show, is that there is unnecessary building of Gashagwa as an object of aggression that, in my opinion, is falling flat. Falling flat in the sense that the hate they want against Gashagwa is not holding. Is not. It doesn't have the chemistry like that one of Raila Odinga, whereby when you turned against Raila Odinga, you had a following that will definitely turn against him, and it will be spirited. I'm not seeing that building up. Only a few people are the ones who are buying into it, and even the narrative is dying. Look at the kind of exchanges that are taking place online. It's not spirited, it's not sustainable. And so it appears like you see, like what Gachagua, uh, had launched the hate for, or rather the protest against William Ruto to endear himself to Mount Kenya. It's even falling because it can't be sustained. The Mount Kenya people are beginning to question: is it about us, or is it about the impeachment? And so, what we are seeing at play here is that none of these people is going to score. Make make Nyanza to be afraid of Gashagwa, they will not. If there's anything that you will never succeed, is getting a law to be afraid.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And so if they're capitalizing on that, in my opinion, they will not succeed. On the other hand, the motivation that will get people out to vote, in my opinion, it is the tide of change. The tide of change. If like the eminent split takes place in ODM, and then we have the young tax running away with the really ODM that uphold the values and the principles of Raila Odinga, then that is what is going to be the force that is going to determine the direction of the Luo vote in a large wherever percentage. But this other one, that Wanga has gone to be made deputy president, or even Aido Dinga is made deputy president, that is not going to have any much shaking of the ground. The really shaking of the ground is Sifuna, Babo Wino, Hamisi, there is this other Kisi guy.
Kibagendi.
Kibagendi, they come together, okay, and run away with ODM. They will run away with that entire support of Baba, and they're going to leave Oburu naked, Wanga naked, and these other people helpless. Okay, and when that finally happens, we're going to have fresh ODM that is going to sweep even the coast and western, because now there will be new blood, and that new blood is going to be a strong force, a strong motivation that even William Ruto will not be able to contain. And even if he will succeed to buy, like the way he's trying to, I've seen that he's trying to, endear himself to Arati. Okay, Arati is blowing hot and cold at the same time. As Oburu is the marketing manager of the sales and liquidation of ODM. So William Ruto may succeed to buy the paper, but the people will go away with the Sifuna, Babu, and the rest. That's what I can see. But at the end of the day, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. So neno la mwisho, ongelesha wa Kenya tunapofunga tafadhali, ni a quarter to 4 a.m.
Mimi sina la kusema, mimi naambia tu siasa itashika moto kwa sababu we are getting into 2026, but it is upon them to make wise decisions. You know, if you don't make wise decisions while voting, what will happen is there will be consequences. So again, if you don't vote, then do not talk.
So choices have consequences, and especially the young people. Tafadhali Gen Z, chukueni kura. Wache hii story yenu ati mmekasirika. System inaweza kuwa mbaya, lakini kama hiyo ndio njia ya kubadilisha serikali, lazima tutumie hiyo njia. Hizi njia zingine, they are exceptional. They are not the in way. The in way, and probably the explanation that Raila Odinga gave in issuing his support to the broad-based government was so that we can avoid the exceptional means of changing government. Now, the really deal that will help us change the government has come. What are we going to use? The vote. So refusing to take your voter's card or registering as a voter is playing in the hands of what Ruto wants you to play in by what? Making sure that your vote is not on the, or wherever your vote is not in the basket, and so it will not determine the outcome. And so young people go out, register as voters, then come out and vote. Tuache hii mchezo. Mliachia wazee wakaenda kuvote kwa by elections. Mliona kile kitu kilifanyika. Tena mnataka wazee waende kudetermine president. Then baadaye mnaenda kwa street ati mnataka change of no finance bill, no this and no this. When you have an opportunity to make the change, please apply yourself to the same. Just like ulitaka kwenda university, ulikaa kwa class ukafanya fourth form, ukafanya KCSE, kwa sababu it's a condition for you to go to the university. You cannot avoid to register as a voter, neglect to register as a voter, then you want to tell us that you're going to cause changes in this country. Using what? So please, let's wise up. Let's do the right thing. And Benson, thank you so much. Engineer, thank you. And every other person who has been part and parcel of this conversation. Let's meet again in the next show. We believe we will be strong enough to keep running until kinaeleweka. So mahala popote ulipo, hakikisha unamakinika kufuata vipindi vyetu na mambo mengi tu ambayo tunafanya kutokana na kuelimisha Wakenya na kuhakikisha kwamba kila Mkenya anatekeleza wajibu wake ipasavyo kulingana na katiba na kulingana na majukumu ambayo yako mabegani mwako, kwa sababu wewe ni Mkenya. Asante sana, tukutane tutakapokutana katika masafa mengine ya mazungumzo. God bless you.